This is the regular open meeting of United Laguna Woods Mutual Board of Directors, a California not-profit mutual benefit corporation. Today is Tuesday, May 14th, 9:30 in the morning. We're here in the boardroom at the Community Center. Welcome, everybody. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the regular United Mutual Board meeting in accordance with Civil Code 4930 and was hereby noticed in accordance with Civil Code 4920. May we have the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Acknowledging the media, of course, we are on air and will be recorded for posterity this morning. So is there anyone else present from media who is? All right, thank you. The next item is to see if there are any objections or changes to the agenda. Are there any changes to the agendas posted? Hearing none, agenda is approved as posted. Next, I would ask for any changes or corrections to meeting minutes of April 9th and April 25th. Are there any changes or adjustments to those minutes as submitted? Hearing none, those are approved as written. I had a couple of things to talk this morning about and under Chair's remarks, and that is to ask you the question, is it your turn? Is it your turn? We all take, well, this is a cooperative housing authority, and we need to take turns in governing it and participating in community life. At the end of May and through the end of June, you'll be able to apply for a board position. And please know that all skills are needed here. All skills are welcome. All skills are needed. The way this works, of course, as you know, is annually 3 or 4 directors are elected to the board. There are 4 this year. And they are elected for 3-year terms. The 4 people this year who need to run for election, if they so choose, or who will make a choice not to, are Maggie Blackwell, Pearl Lee, Tony Liberatore, and myself. We have to reapply and run just the way anyone else would. No one has first dibs on a seat. No one is entitled to a seat because they've been in it for a while. Everyone runs anew, applies anew, runs anew. And all of us should be considered freshly in terms of today's needs and tomorrow's needs. I think that's fair, and that gives a level playing field to anyone in the general membership who would want to apply also. The qualifications, there are 11 of us on the board, and the qualifications per the United bylaws are that an applicant needs to be a member in good standing, needs to be a resident here full-time, meaning at least 10 months of the year to be in residence, not elsewhere, and not renting your unit out, but living here, have no arrearages of more than 30 days, financial arrearages, and not have any conflict of interest, another business or to be an employee of VMS and so on, or to be on another board. United is a nonprofit mutual benefit corporation under Davis-Sterling Common Interest Development Act and the California Nonprofit Mutual Benefit Corporation Law, which is California Civil Code 7110 and up from there. Our purpose here is to provide housing on a mutual nonprofit basis. It's to manage, maintain, preserve, and administer the business of a stock cooperative. If anything other purpose, that's not what we do here. That's very clear, is it not? That's exactly what we are to do. Manage, maintain, preserve, and administer the business of a stock cooperative. Our purpose is our mission statement. We also have responsibility to promote the health, safety, and welfare of residents and to engage in any business or activity permitted under California law. So it's a pretty broad mandate, and we have, of course, overriding all of this, the fiscal duty, the financial duty of good stewardship, of maintaining our finances in good health, to making prudent decisions financially for the benefit of all. So when you think about it, is it your turn? Is it your turn to get involved in this enterprise? Please think seriously about doing it. We need people to apply not only for board of directors positions, but also to work on committees and to work as advisors. Every skill set is needed. No matter what you have done before professionally, there's a place for you in helping us to manage this enterprise of United Laguna Woods Mutual. So those are my comments for this morning, and I would ask that everyone listening, everyone here, think seriously about getting involved. It's fun. It's very educational. Your brain will be stretched and teased on a daily basis, as well as your patience. And so I really encourage you to help us out. So thanks. And moving on now, we have open forum. Who do we have, Michaela?
Yes, let me pull it up here. Okay, first speaker is James Jones.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let me tell you, this is my first time here, so I don't know what the heck's going on, and I'm up first too. I was talking neck circle, but what the heck. About a week ago, my name is James. I live in Manor 267C off Avenida Sevilla. About a week ago, I walked up, I looked out my window where I look into the guest parking area. And what did I see? I'm going to show everybody a picture. I'm going to walk around so you can see what I saw as my wake-up call. A little present that was left sort of early by someone.
Oh, yes.
Wrapped very nicely. And I became concerned because, as my wife said, what the heck is that piece of junk out there doing? So I made a call to security and asked, what's going on? I didn't get a reply. So I made a call to security and asked, what's going on? We'll send out an officer. Didn't get a reply. Called security and asked, what's going on? Finally, I got somebody who explained to me that the owner of the vehicle had requested and received approval to park the vehicle like that for 2.5 or 3 months. And I was told that security had approved it. They were following the rules. So to me, there's a loophole in the rules. I don't see there are 12 marked spots for guest parking around the area. In my gross estimate, there are 52 manors served by 12 spaces. That specific space is the one where most of my neighbors who require wheelchairs like to be able to pull up to get in and out of the car. So not only is it unsightly, it's making my older neighbors who have infirmities walk farther. And while they may be following the rules, and my gripe is not with the owner of the vehicle, my gripe is with the rules. If we're going to provide long-term storage for residents, there needs to be a designated place. I raised the issue of like the RV parking place, and it was slapped down and told, no, you can't do it there because the rules don't allow it. So I'm stymied. That's why I'm talking to you today, to see what you can do. Again, my gripe is not with the resident. They followed the rules. They called security, and I assume security knows the rules and they applied them appropriately. So my gripe isn't with them. So I guess my gripe is with you. Okay? And that's about as good as I can say. I think we need to have a clarification. If somebody, there is nothing in any of the rules about long-term storage of privately owned vehicles. There's nothing that says where it can and cannot be. There's nothing about being unsightly. So I think maybe we need to have something that says if somebody's going to store a car for more than the allotted 5 days or 7 days, there's going to be a designated place. And if they want to cover it up, at least make it look decent rather than a wrapper off of a In-N-Out box or something. Okay? I thank you for your time. Hopefully I've given you a little levity. Actually, I do this all the time, just not with boards. So anyway, thank you very much for your time. I look forward to hearing from you very quickly. Thank you.
You and I have talked about, have communicated back and forth about this by email.
Yes, ma'am, you did, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that very
Yeah,
much.
and we're
I
moving
will
it
say
forward.
that I sent Allison one little short love note, and she replied promptly, and I thank you for that, Allison.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim. I'm sorry, I need to review the rules for open forum. I didn't do that before Jim started. At this time, members only may address the board regarding items not on the agenda within the jurisdiction of this board of directors. Board reserves the right to limit total amount of time allotted for the open forum to 30 minutes. A member may speak only once during the forum. Speakers may not give their time to other people. No audio or video recording by attendees, and no rude or threatening comments. Members can attend by Zoom or by calling in. So just to remind everybody of the rules. So thank you. Michaela, who's next?
Yes, next speaker is Cheryl Garcia.
Good morning, Cheryl.
Good morning. Okay, I have a two-pronged problem. I spoke before this board back in March.
You did.
Regarding the collapsed sewer lateral in my building.
Right.
That was caused by a subcontractor that was hired by VMS, Plumbing Department. So the collapsed sewer lateral, this is my first prong problem. The collapsed sewer lateral resulting in 6 Category 3 black water backups into my manor, then resulted in the need to remove the drywall, the flooring, and the shower enclosure. A water remediation company has finished the mold, bacterial, and water remediation and has written an estimate for the rebuild. Okay? So we're done with that right now. However, the second problem is that there is evidence of moisture intrusion from deteriorated moisture barrier tar paper and rusty wire that holds it in place, right at the back of my shower enclosure. In addition to bellied out stucco along a specific line. So I went over to my bad actor neighbor who wouldn't allow them in to fix the plumbing in the first place, so you guys thankfully issued the 24-hour notice to enter. She got a permit in 2009 to build a planter that is a triangle shape. So it's 5 feet along my stucco wall behind my shower, 5 feet along the cinder block, and then 7 feet across the front. And she got a variance approved by the board for a material change only. The material changes from brick to a tile facade in the front and then slump stone caps. The planter is directly against the stucco, and the slump stone caps are abutted right up against the stucco. So there's no way to see if there's that 1-inch gap in between the wall and the planter. And then on the cinder block side, she has an 8-foot backsplash that goes all the way to the top that is also butted up against the stucco. So moisture intrusion has been out. They don't think it's a problem, but it's obvious there's a problem on the inside. They sprayed some water in her planter, but I told them you guys need to recreate what happens in the wintertime. It has to be completely saturated to see any evidence that it's coming through. And they've kind of poo-pooed me. But CEO Foster, I need your help because they're slow walking this like they did with the plumbing problem. They're saying she has to go to compliance, then she has 10 days to answer, then it has to go to the board, and then she can answer after that. Well, my insurance company wants to start rebuilding in 3 weeks, which is going to eliminate their ability to see the interior of that stucco And I fear that we will be back in the same position in a year. So I'm hoping that you guys can expedite getting somebody to look at her planter. And by the way, the variance inspector, and he's fairly new, I think his name is David Ringe, came out and looked just because he was curious, and he said, oh yeah, there's a problem here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you. Next speaker is Chris Collins.
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. Chris Collins, 3306Q, and I'm here again with an update on the work of the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village, which we do on behalf of residents who are experiencing temporary financial crisis. An uncomfortable topic, funeral arrangement. The day that Mary's husband died, she was overwhelmed by emotion and memories. She had to call her children and her closest friends. She started to think of what her life would become. This overwhelming swirl of thoughts and emotions was not a time for heavy financial decisions. Yet all of a sudden, she had to make funeral arrangements, and the funeral home wanted to be paid in full before services could be provided. Sudden death without prearranged funeral plans can be emotionally and financially devastating. Yet for many, including Mary, talking about death had been taboo. The next broadcast of the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village's television series is entitled Planning for the Inevitable, and it removes the taboo and discusses the advantages of pre-planning one's funeral. For example, pre-planning can reduce stress, lock in cost, arrange payment plans, avoid conflicts, and ensure personal wishes are followed. What are the key decisions involved in making final arrangements? What are some of the costs? What if you have no surviving close family? What do you do then? When making such plans, are there precautions which you should be aware of? These questions and issues will be focus of the Foundation's next broadcast, which airs on Village Television every Saturday at 12 noon, continues for the whole entire month of May. Tune in and hear Renee Tepper, who's a pre-planning advisor for several local funeral homes and cemeteries affiliated with Dignity Memorial, which is a national company. If you want to view this broadcast on your own schedule, it's available on the Foundation website, foundationoflagunawoodsvillage.org, under a special tab that is called Planning for the Inevitable. The website section includes YouTube links for this broadcast and all of our earlier ones. If you have any questions about the topic of the upcoming broadcast, please contact the Foundation at the Foundation of Laguna Woods at comline.com. And for more information about the Foundation, please go to our website, thefoundationoflagunawoodsvillage.org. Please note that donations can always be made using PenPal or credit card on the Foundation website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's an interesting reaction.
Next speaker is John Beckett.
Morning, John.
Good morning, Board. Last month I was here when you voted to transfer $6.5 million out of our reserve fund. You really didn't have much choice in that matter. However, you do have a choice about how to repay that money. You can either rely on staff and hope that they manage to come up with it, or you could start making payments. If we were to make a payment of $600,000 a month, we could have that thing paid for by the time it is due. I know that we're short of cash right now, but there are some projects that could be cut back. And I'm afraid that if we don't repay that money, we're going to have to issue a special assessment. Nobody wants that. So I hope you'll start to make payments on that debt. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Next speaker is Dee Tucker.
Good morning, Dee.
Good morning. This is my first time here. I'm a woman in my 70s, a retired college administrator, I moved here 10 years ago for the safety, the community, and the amenities. I knew I needed a new purpose to give back, and I began volunteering at the library because the bus orientation took me there. And then I began volunteering at the PC Club. I attended the last 3 committee meetings of the ad hoc committee of the, for the relocation of Building E. I was very impressed with the proposal by Nancy and Andy. They took a lot of time, yet I heard some statements that were not truthful. I heard we don't need computer rooms because people use their laptops and their phones, which is true. But I've worked up there for the last 9 years, and in the first 4 months of this year, we had 3,899 residents walk into the workshop asking for help with their computer or wanting to print or wanting to scan their documents. We also provide classes. We have 738 residents registered for classes, everything from Excel, ChatGPT, which is very popular, and GRF asked us, or VMS asked us to do Dwelling Live. And we've had a class on that every month where residents do hands-on learning how to log into their Dwelling Live into their portal. Also, we do the free tax program. This year we had 1,400 taxpayer visits to the workshop. We prepared 1,200 free tax returns by 46 resident volunteers. These are services to residents. We are not a social club. Our mission is to serve residents. We don't require any resident to be a member of our club to take advantage of any of these. I urge you, I know that you're going to be voting on the proposals, that you consider the expense of moving clubs, the re-education of residents, where do I find computer help, locating the PC Club and the Mac Club into one room is not a viable option. We do completely separate services, and we need the space that we currently have. If we lose that, it will be the loss of one or both clubs and possibly, most likely, the free taxpayer program. I volunteer 15 hours a week to the village residents. I know that your commitment is much more than that, and I appreciate your service. I know this decision is difficult, but I trust that you will consider the work of the clubs and the services to the residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Ronald Roluik.
Good morning, directors.
Good morning.
So in the week before Christmas, 2022, my wife and I noticed some debris in the bottom of the shower in the master bathroom, master bedroom. I sent a message through the Laguna Woods website to the maintenance department. When I hit the button, it said, your message has been received. However, I did not get a confirming email like it's supposed to be, and I had previously through resident services, but this was to maintenance, the week before Christmas. The following week, I sent another message to maintenance saying, I sent a message, it was acknowledged, I haven't gotten anything from you. Again, nothing. Unfortunately, on New Year's Eve, there was a flood. And water backed up and created about an inch or two a flood in the bathroom in the adjoining room. Contacted security, they got somebody out, a plumber, and it was eventually corrected. Now I'm being charged $492.50 because the repairs included some repairs to some items that had been modified by a predecessor. So my view is that the maintenance people were negligent in not responding to 2 messages and causing this flood. Quite frankly, I didn't know the degree of danger involved in that. Subsequently, I found out that it's a big problem, that this happens all the time. And most manners have been modified, so the costs are being incurred by the residents, which at the very least, I think there should be some notification that if you see any backup, it's an emergency, which, so in any event, I believe that my wife and I shouldn't bear the cost of this, because we tried to contact maintenance twice during this period, and then the flood occurred. So if the board will consider it, I don't have a record of that because it was not acknowledged. I do have an email that my wife sent me with a picture of the debris dated December 28, 3 days before the flood. And so if the board will consider it, I have that documentation, the email, the picture of the debris from December 28, the bill from STAT, and the proof that we paid it.
Thank you. Please give your copies over to
Thank you very
Kayla.
much.
Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Claudia Gray.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Claudia.
The last time I was here, you had the plastic glass around here, and how nice to have this taken down. I can see your face. This is great. Anyway, I'm here today. I'd like to talk about the grass cutting schedule that has changed. Several times now, at least 3 months, my grass has not been cut. And it was very disturbing because it truly is, and I have the pictures if you need to see them, 1.5 to 2 feet. I actually, with the grass and the weeds. I actually have a picture where it's as high as the fire hydrant. So I did go through the channels and went to Property Services, and the email that comes back, it is nice, they acknowledged it, but we'll fix this between 30 and 90 days. So, you really don't know when they're going to come and cut the grass. So I realized that Sue was on the landscaping committee, and I thought, well, gosh, 30 to 90 days, I could be walking through, like this. So Sue did let me know that they would be coming out to cut the grass soon. But I think that I would like to know, or maybe we should all know, who, and I'm sure it was to save money, who was responsible for making that decision to cut down on the grass cutting? When it got so bad, I actually went around the neighborhood to find the gardeners to see if there was something going on that we didn't know about, because obviously it was done deliberately. And he said yes, they were told that they shouldn't cut the grass, but every 3 weeks. And I think probably around this time of year, it's just really not acceptable. So my grass was cut last Monday, and I know their plan is to probably cut it again in a couple of weeks. But I have to tell you, just a week and a day later, it's almost ready to be cut again. So the person who made this decision to cut down on the grass cutting, number one, it is not on the website. General maintenance is, and general landscaping when they're going to do your area. But it has nothing to do at all with notifying you when your grass will be cut. Did that person let the board know to get approval from you to let the properties go?
Thank you. Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you. Next speaker is Elizabeth Romano.
Good morning, and
Elizabeth.
thank you for your time. I had 2 issues to discuss, and one I will just briefly refer to because I got some answers coming in, and that was the loss of the ability to obtain FHA loans on our homes. So we will take that and follow through with the FHA department. Second item I have is the continued violation of my civil rights and human rights here in terms of retaliation that I received from speaking up on behalf of, again, the community regarding the disruption at the clubhouse of the then president's mentally ill son, who would come in daily and just assault us, take our property, turn the TV channel around, tell us he could do anything he wanted because his mother was the president. He was 300 pounds and off of psychiatric medication. I'm a forensic psychologist. It's very frightening, okay? So that conversation cost me retaliation. So then I was sent a letter that I needed to pay $500 each to any board member that I wanted to speak to. Okay, that's a violation of my civil rights, human rights, and there is no corporate compliance program here. I also am a global corporate compliance president and officer, and there is no program here, and that's a violation of the law. What I'm left to do, and I'm going to follow through to lead example for the other people who have this happen, is, Siobhan, I'm going to be taking you to small claims court for initiating this and maintaining this for 6 months assault against me, turning my TV off, okay? That is in your rules. Your rules really need to be looked at. There's a lot of human rights, civil rights, illegal things in those. And it's also shows to me that this behavior shouldn't be happening, okay? I have great damages.
Elizabeth,
from what you
please
did.
address
Yes.
yourself to me.
Okay,
and to
I
the
will.
board,
I will.
not to
So
Siobhan.
anyway, this is what we're going to be doing. So I will also see Joan Millman in court for sending me a letter from as a board member.
Again,
telling me I
please,
had
no
to find you.
personal
Okay.
names, no
All right.
personal attacks,
Okay,
please.
no personal attacks. Okay, what's going to happen is we do have recourse in going to small claims court when we cannot find anything else. And I appreciate you guys looking through your rules because there are some that are violating. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Maxine McIntosh.
Morning, Maxine.
Good morning, good morning. Hope everybody had as good a Mother's Day as possible. Mine was sensational. Son called up and said, "What would you like? Just tell me what you'd like, Mom." And I said, "I'd like a long visit." So he came into my living room and he stayed for 4 hours. And we had a wonderful time. So it's nice sometimes when somebody asks. My last year of serving on the GRF, I'm thinking now about all the contention going on about, do we rebuild, do we remodel, do we build new, and so forth, that's going on in the town hall meetings and other meetings as well. And that last year, we had a lot of contention in the community that 6 of our board members, which is the majority, it only takes 6 when there's 11 on the board, of course, wanted to spend what really responsible people in the community like Bev Ann Strom and Mary Stone had sat down with me and figured it out for me. The millions it would probably cost. And they'd already borrowed $1 million from the bank that wasn't even being used, and we were paying $30,000 a month interest on it. So you can see how the 5 of us were alarmed. But board members from the housing mutuals, like yourselves, would go to them and speak to them, could not get them to change their mind. So it was a big money project, and most of the people on the boards were saying, that's not in the best interest of the village. Money counts, we're spending their money. People have to feel we're spending it wisely. This is not good. We can go ahead and just keep our facilities going where they are. We don't have to move them all over by Clubhouse 7. And the clubs would invite a board member to speak at their meetings, and the board member the president would usually go, and figured that board member could convince them of the way the president was thinking, and was surprised when it didn't happen, but didn't change the mind of the president. We know that you, our mutual board, are the only body which can make final decisions about how our money may be spent. I've had a lot of people say, "Oh my gosh, that board meeting, they're going to go ahead and do it." And I said, "No, I mean the town hall meeting." And I said, no, that was a meeting. All those meetings give ideas or support, but only our board can spend our money, only our board. And a lot of people seem to go away with kind of the wrong idea about that. And someone I noticed, I was watching it on TV at the last town center, talked about the corporate members always have the final word on any, or the corporate members do not have the final word on any issue. That there are bylaws for GRF that give them some leeway to make decisions without corporate member involvement, regardless. And that is still wrong. Down the line, there is a way. The corporate members are in charge. The board members, like you and in third, are in charge. The final way to go against a GRF decision, if you ever had to, is drastic, but it works. And my corporate members did it. I was just sweating it out, voting at all those meetings against this, and they kept wanting to spend it. And consequently, we turned it around. The loan, gosh, I was so glad I voted immediately to pay off that month, and we saved $30,000 right there in interest that month. But do rest assured that there are many people in the community that know that you do have the final word if you have to have it. You do getting together with the other corporate members and having a vote on what's going on. And when all this was going on with GRF, none of those members are on the good GRF board now. So I don't want to talk about what steps the board took. It might make it sound like that was going on now. If anybody wanted more information, they could call me. I'm always in the phone book. Thank you very much for sticking in there and sticking with it. We have to really have to consider money always, in my book, first.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next and final speaker is Nahid Rafi.
Good morning.
Good morning. Dear board members, sorry, I'm a bit overwhelmed. My name is Reza Madani, and I'm the son-in-law of Ms. Nahid Rafi, the resident at 195G in Laguna Woods. I run a software company focusing on artificial intelligence and infrastructure security. During the winter of
Will you
20
please, Mr. Ruffy, would you speak directly
I'm
into the
sorry.
microphone?
Is it better?
Thank you. Maybe you may need to get closer.
Oh, sure, I'm sorry. Is this better?
Thank you, that's better. Thank you.
Started from scratch.
Okay.
My name is Reza Madani, and I'm the son-in-law of Ms. Nahid Rafi, resident at 195G in Laguna Woods. I run a software company focusing on artificial intelligence and infrastructure security. During the winter of 2020, my mother-in-law's heater broke. I personally contacted Mutual to find out how to address the issue, but due to COVID-19 pandemic, we did not receive any support or direction from VMS staff. Seeing our sick elderly mother living in a unit without a heater in cold winter made us act and replace the broken unit. To my surprise, VMS staff that didn't communicate properly with us showed up abruptly after we started the process, and the work was halted. Furthermore, she was ousted out of her house by locking the front door for approximately 6 months. The well-being of my mother-in-law is my utmost priority, and I made every attempt to cooperate with the Mutual to resolve the matter quickly and swiftly by accepting to pay all fees and penalties well over $13,000. During this process, I was disappointed to find out about my many interesting procedures in place at VMS. For instance, you pretty much have no choice but to use the recommended vendors by the VMS. In fact, notified by neighbors, I had to block the staff of ATI Restoration not to start any process without my prior agreement or permission. Surprisingly, my mother-in-law also had to get permission to enter her own house to get her heart medicine. Now, with great surprise, right before Mother's Day, VMS has sent a new bill for $3,190. I should admit that receiving a bill for activities of 4 years ago is somewhat suspicious. I'm guessing, being a security officer myself, It is either IT department's lack of organization or internal chaos at VMS. Finding the root cause is not difficult, just takes time. And we all have more pressing issues to address. My dear mother-in-law has recently put a pacemaker in due to stress and, among other things, without a doubt, specifically caused by this ongoing conduct. I am respectfully asking the board to waive this fee and save all of us from additional unnecessary emotional and financial damage and wasteful legal battles. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That is all for open forum speakers.
All right. Are there any responses to open forum? Siobhan?
Thank you, President. There are several items that our staff is following up on. Mr. James's item pertaining to the vehicle parked in the guest spot. Mr. Rulick's experience with the debris in the shower and purported non-response from maintenance. And Ms. Gray, our mowing schedule is on the website. It is under news/category/landscape. Nonetheless, our mowing schedule changes at the end of May from every 2 weeks to every week. So we are moving to weekly mowing as we conclude the month. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Response to past forum speakers.
Madam
Director
Chair?
Leonard, yes?
I have
Dan?
3 responses to today's.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
very good, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nancy.
The first one is to Mr. Jones regarding the parking and having a surprise package outside his bedroom window. FYI to everybody who's watching and/or in attendance, including the panel, the GRF Mobility Committee is the one that sets up for the village our parking situations and so on and so forth. So there is actually a committee on it. Coincidentally, we've been having what we call traffic workshops outside of the regular committee meeting, going through all the current rules, precisely addressing the very circumstance that presented itself today. Among those considerations are what's acceptable and not acceptable. So I'm advising you that we're actually looking at all that. When those rules are put together, we will have them typed up and we will give them to the various mutuals for approval and we'll enforce them. When they come before the mutuals for approval as forms of a resolution, of course, you people in the audience will see it as part of the agenda packet, so on and so forth. But I just wanted to address that item, number 1. Number 2, I want to address Ms. Tucker, she represents the library and PC club. She was at the first 2 meetings. She wasn't at the May 1st meeting, so I'll just give you a brief update. That had to do with the space planning. And at the first 2 meetings, we had information a little bit different, and then staff provided us different information on available space. So that's not worth discussing right now. But suffice to say, in the May 1st presentation and the slides that we put forward, and I don't know, but they may be posted on our website. We'll talk about that later today, so everyone can see them that wasn't at the meeting or didn't attend by Zoom. We, in fact, cover all the computer situations. In the reshuffling of certain people in order to accommodate them and have this program go forward within 4 to 6 months versus a 2-year program, the computer people were moved partially to the first floor of this business so that, one, the computer labs would be open for more extended hours for all the residents. Second, there is ample space there that they would have. PC Club and Mac Club will each have computer equipment there. The bonus of the misinformation we had about Clubhouse 1, that there wasn't space, the billiards room was moved, which created a large classroom setting to create a second tech center. So in essence, we would have 2 computer situations at both places. And what we also did is weren't canceling a tax program. What we were noticing was that taxes were being done over at Clubhouse 6, not necessarily in the community center this past year, and also that there's 5 or 6 other services that serve Laguna Woods residents in their free tax programs as well. Notwithstanding those facts, we have recommended that we continue the tax program, and the advantage is we now have 2 sites and locations, and the Clubhouse One affords us extra meeting rooms options there, so that in the burden of the tax season, which really runs, as the president told me, president of the computer club, runs about 3 months, that there's available extra space at CH1 where they could utilize those rooms instead of having to send them over like Clubhouse 6 or other locations that are less friendly in terms of parking in that circumstance. So we really improved upon that, and plus the advantage of the expanded hours that we have and the expanded security. So I believe I've addressed that, both in drawings that we submitted on May 1st, as well as the revisions to, based on how some things are changing at CH1. So I want to rest assured that we've addressed all those issues and we're not changing any of those programs. The third thing I would address is really that when we have alterations where events arise. You are noticed, you do get bills relative to that, and thank you for them bringing it to the attention of the mutual. There is a process. You do have the right to request a member hearing, but generally, when you get that bill, you're automatically set up to have a member hearing, and that's the proper forum to make the specific complaint, because you'll be dealing with the United Directors in a closed session where you can present all your evidence and we can see what staff has presented in full so we can make decisions, and that's where any modification in the invoicing and so on and so forth. So for today's people who spoke, that's the process. Secondarily, for people who are watching, I want to inform you that whenever there's an alteration connected, and we know that 60 years into the village at this point, we have great many units with alterations, and damages do arise. So we are very much on top of it, and later I'll give a committee report. We were behind relative to the pandemic, which we had no control over, obviously, but we're up to speed on those things, and we do address them quickly and responsibly. Thank you.
Tom? Thank you.
Yeah, I have a couple comments. First of all, I'd like to thank the open forum speakers. They were all done in a very proper, concise manner and in a very civil manner. So thank you to all of you that presented there. Second was Siobhan, I didn't hear you mention Cheryl Garcia's issue, but I assume you'll look into that also.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I've already referred that to the pertinent staff, and they're looking into it.
I figured you had,
yes.
And I thank you for your quick responses all the time.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate the prompt.
And the last item is I just wanted to thank John Beckett for his comments, because it is always a major concern of anytime there's a borrowing from the reserve fund to the operating fund, it's always a concern to pay it back and to do that as quickly as possible. So thank you, John.
Okay, Sue?
I too would like to thank John and for coming forward and talking about the need for reserve funding, adequate reserve funding. I've been on the board a little over a year, and I didn't understand when I came to the board how serious the reserve fund shortage was. And I found out that we are not adequately funding that reserve. What the problem is that we experience these big costs, and then we have to take the money out of the reserves that may or may not have been appropriated. So that fund continues to go down unless we raise the dues or to pay back that amount. And so there's been hesitancy to do so from my understanding of this. And so consequently, the reserve has dipped lower and lower and lower. We cannot sustain this. It would be wonderful if we had a decent reserve and we had a decent, what is that called? Contingency fund. I don't believe that we do. And this is just one person's opinion, not the board's opinion. But we could then, if we had adequate money in those accounts, pay that $2.6 million or whatever that amount was that you had just mentioned without having to dip down into the budget. into those funds and lose that funding. So I hope that you all come back for the board budget discussions because we need your help. It's people don't want to raise the dues any more than is necessary. So I don't think that they understand the severity of our shortage in those funds. So that's where I am with that. And then I'd also like to address Claudia Gray's issue about landscape. And again, this is just one person speaking for the board. We will have a board response later. But I really appreciate your coming today, Claudia, and bringing this up. Because, again, I've just been on the board a little more than a year. And what I found is that landscape doesn't always make the hit parade when it comes to the budget. I've been told over and over again, well, we could perhaps extend the mowing, and because we need that money to go into roofs, or we need that to go into epoxy piping, or for the pipes, that sort of thing. Well, I think the joy of living here is going outside and seeing a beautiful community and having the exterior well maintained. So I hope we don't fall down that rabbit hole again this year. And the fact that we continue to say, oh, we've got to stop. We just can't put any increases in there, just cost of living, that sort of thing. Because then it's like, what is the point of people coming here and complaining? What is the point of that? To us to basically say, so sorry, we didn't add additional money, it's going to be the same. And that's how I feel about it as the chair of that committee. They are appropriated only so much amount of money, and that equates also to their staffing. So I talked with our landscape director yesterday, and he said, we're kind of in a catch because I could start mowing, but then I'd have to transfer my people to stop weed control. And if we do that, then we have more weeds. And then in August, we'll be out of money, we'll be short in that account, and it will just spiral. So we are starting our budget process. I really hope that the board listens to the issues that our residents bring concerning landscape, because without the consensus of the board, things will continue as is. So, thank you.
Maggie?
Yes, in agreement with the landscape issues, we make out a landscape plan according to the customary seasons. Well, California has no customary seasons this year, and they didn't last year either. We have moved eastward, I guess, several thousand miles for the rainfall we get. This is totally unusual, and it causes all kinds of problems. So we make up the schedule and the plan for the customary seasons that we have and the customary growth of our plants. And lo and behold, when we get the glorious rain, and we're in spring, we thought, until we got up this morning, and maybe we're not in spring yet. And so this is what we deal with. We are reacting to a budget. You have to set the budget, you have to set the plans, and therefore you set the assessments. And when this happens, what can we do? Mm-hmm. And so this is all a surprise to us and to you too. And so we don't know what to do. We make the adjustments quickly and so on, but then we're spending money in this and this and this. And it is a totally, it's like it's moving on the ocean like this. It's not steady anymore. We're going like this, a dip here, a dip here, a dip here. So that's what happens. I wanted to say something. Let me think. You should make a complaint about the neighbor, about not the car. The car, I'm going to say, if I had to go to England for 6 months, and I had a nice car, and my husband had a nice car. We can only park one in the carport, right? So the other one has to be parked somewhere. And if you get the okay and you wrap it up so it won't be damaged and it won't be dirty and it won't be everything, they're trying to secure that car there. Whether it's beautiful there is not their concern. They're worried about the safety and cleanliness of their car. And so you don't want rats invading it and biting things or anything like that. So I feel for that person. As far as the tax bill coming at a certain time of year, we have to find a way to deal with that. The momentary transfer and then payback has worked okay. We don't suffer from that. So I don't know that we need to do anything else. But I appreciate all these comments and the sincerity and the detail which people come with. Some things can't be helped, and I hope you can be helped through us talking these over today. Thank you.
Thank you. Pearl?
Yeah. Hi. Well, I would like to respond to the gentleman who spoke last in representing his mother-in-law. What was his name? Reza. Okay. I remember going through your mother-in-law's case during membership hearing. There are many of us did not get the invoice in time because of the COVID. During the COVID, the billing office was closed, and by the time they got the bill, it was about the work done 3 or 4 years ago. So we finally caught up with all the process. Now we are dealing with the 2023 cases, and it is unfortunate when you get a bill after 3 years later. It shocks you, and a lot of the times the amount is very large, and during the membership hearing, we go through very thoroughly about how we process and go through all the invoices and examine all the reports from the staff. We are more than happy to review your case if you have a new evidence. Because we don't want to repeat the same thing over and over. If you have a new evidence, please contact us. We will schedule a new hearing. But based on the emotional stress, if we start giving discounts to all of our residents, it will cost the rest of the whole village. We have to share the cost. So we are very careful about when we can reduce the charges based on what reason. So. And if I know it is not easy, $3,000 a lot of money, and I'm sorry that you got the bill on Mother's Day, but we do have a payment plans as well. So you want to check into that option. But if you have a new evidence, you're welcome to contact us anytime. We'll be happy to sit down and go through it again, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Nancy?
I just want to footnote what Pearl's saying, because I also sit on that committee where things are adjudicated about this. When we have to use an outside vendor, some of our staff are not here 24/7 that have to deal with certain things, and when there are certain vendors that we use for particular functions because it's cheaper for them with the equipment that they have and keep in inventory than it is for us to buy it. For example, the dry down equipment, et cetera. We have contractual relationships with these vendors. We vet them, and we're not paying retail. We're getting a discount on it. So if you picked up the phone and called someone to repair your unit yourself and they came in and did all of that work, it would be more. So rest assured that staff is working in terms of who we use and also that we have a good deal. After all, we are a big client and they get a lot of business from us on that basis. So accordingly, I don't think a lot of people realize that because in member hearings that comes up quite a bit. So I just wanted to make sort of a public announcement about that and tell you that it is sort of a discounted rate. I can't say specifically what it is, but I can assure you that it is.
Mickey?
Yes, as a finance committee chair, everything comes with the money, right? Landscaping, maintenance, construction, everything. So we are doing our best to reflect on the current situation and also the books that we inherited from the past. So not only members are resident, or we all board members are residents. So we do work our best, but we are really currently starting our budget process for the next year, and we have to reflect many, many factors. So I suggest everyone comes to the budget meeting. And also, I don't think we can cover everything in this a particular board meeting. So if you have any specific concerns, I suggest you to come to the specific committee that which is relevant to it and learn about all the things. So please consider and be a part of the whole process as a resident. And we are doing our best to return our borrowed money to the reserve fund back as much as we can. Thank you.
And now, Ellen? Oh, I'm sorry, Georgiana, do you have one more?
Yes,
in
just a
response to
comment.
today's speakers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was just going to say, a lot of the money being spent, you can wonder about, but I would say if you attend the finance meeting or a budget meeting, and we've got people living here with a multitude of backgrounds. And so if you see something in the budget maybe, or that looks higher than what you think, if you know a better price, you might talk to someone on that committee and make that information available to them.
Thank you. Okay, now Ellen, response to past speakers? All right, go right ahead. All right, thank you.
To the past speakers. So James, regarding the parking, I agree. It's on. I'll put it right here. Okay, thank you. Okay. James, I want to respond to James regarding the car in the parking lot. I think there should be a place that they can park their car, wrap it up, and put it somewhere where it's safe and it won't get scratched. We have lots of vacant land, parking lots in this community, and there should be something worked out. So I suggest that you go to the mobility committee, or is that what it is? The mobility and vehicle committee.
Actually, we're working on that right now. A specific
Okay, so
place
maybe you
security
can
will
include
designate.
this, but James, I would go there. It's a more casual type of a meeting. D, regarding the purpose of the PC Club, I agree we need to keep the PC Club here. Let's see, Maxine, the corporate vote, and I agree. I'm always, and I'm happy your son spent 4 hours with you on Mother's Day, so that was great. Naheed, I don't know about the case. I don't sit on the hearing committee, but I will find out, and we will get back to you. I think we should know about some of these things. Let's see, Claudia Gray, I think we already addressed regarding the mowing and the schedules. And Ronald, the shower debris, there's a process, and we'll look into that. Okay? Thank you.
Ellen, do you want to move on to response to previous?
Okay, I'll respond to the previous. Chris Collins, thank you. You're always here. You're someone we can always depend on regarding the foundation. Maxine, this was a response to the April 9th board meeting. I just want to make that clear. You talked about the election and encouraged people to sign up and fill out an application. And let's see, Asghari, you thanked the board and you talked about the property tax. The finance director stated that after the audit that they would be investigating that. Melissa Dominguez, you requested a rain gutter, and maintenance and construction did an inspection, and your building style does not have the original gutter, and installing a new gutter would be an alteration. So we repaired the water diverter on the roof, and you are happy about that. So that's all for my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're moving on to the VMS board update from Kathy Bravata, Director Bravata. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm new to the VMS board. I was just appointed in April. I was out of the country, so I couldn't attend that meeting. So my very first meeting was May the 1st. I contacted Cynthia and Manny because I was not aware that I would be giving reports. So based on their suggestions yesterday, when I found out I would be speaking, they just wanted me to give you a brief introduction of myself. I've lived here in the village for 13 years. I've worked for 47 years in various areas, customer service, expediting, traffic departments. My last job where I worked for 29 and a half years was the Aerospace Corporation. I retired as a senior procurement administrator. The Aerospace Corporation is a nonprofit organization, and our contract is with the U.S. Air Force. So throughout my years in purchasing, because we never made a product, our buyers had to know every aspect of running, maintaining, and fixing our buildings, and of course doing the work for the Air Force. So my very first meeting, I'm sorry, I'm really nervous right now. My very first meeting with the VMS as a VMS director was on May the 1st, and there were a few items that I'd like to report on. The first one was for the residents. In February, there was a document that was sent out that was called Join Our Team. Residents can now apply for full-time or part-time positions working here in the village. The second update has to do with Clubhouse number 1. Currently, we are at 40% completion and hoping that it will be completed in September and reopened. The next one is the KPI, Key Performance Indicators. The KPI information from resident services, customer service satisfaction, shows that the VMS staff employee courtesy is at a 4.8% out of 5%, which is very, very good. The people working at the community center here, they're very knowledgeable, they're very polite, and they know what they're talking about. I work, I shouldn't say work, I volunteer on the manor alterations desk 3 days a week. So I hear what these people do for our residents when they come in to get things taken care of, whether it's paying their association bills or just asking questions about how to get repairs done. And so I think they're doing a great job. Let's see. Also we talked about the connections and pathways where the residents have a forum to attend meetings, contact various departments, send emails or phone numbers. So this document was sent out or put in the book, I'm not sure, I'm sorry, I'm nervous, which will give you various areas to where you can attend meetings, how to contact board members, how to contact general managers, and to ask questions and get those questions answered so that you know what's going on. So that's that one. One other thing, in April, the customer service plan defined, no, that was that one, my apologies. There was a system that was put in place where the people working for BMS could appoint or, bear with me one second. Okay, it's a recognition program that was started on April 17th, where the employees could vote on their fellow employees. And I happened to be working at the center at the time, and that morning, a number of the people, Adam, was helping everyone sign in on their phones on how they could vote on their fellow employees. And for about 10 minutes, everyone was signing on, and they were shocked at how many of their fellow workers were voting on them. And it was really quite pleasant to see how happy they were that this program was implemented to where they could express themselves with their fellow workers. So at this time, that's pretty much all I could do. I only found out yesterday that I was going to give this, so this is very fast.
Okay, thank you.
Right,
Thanks
you.
very much, Kathy.
Thank you.
And CEO report, Siobhan.
Thank you, President Bach, honorable members of the board. This morning, I wanted to start off with a reminder that the 2025 budget meetings are starting for version 1. And in fact, tomorrow, the capital budget meeting is occurring at 1:30 p.m. And all budget meetings take place here in the boardroom. Additionally, the United Pacific meetings begin next week on Thursday, May 23rd at 1:30 p.m. Maintenance and General Services will be presenting version 1 of their budgets. And on Monday, June 1st, Landscaping will be presenting its version 1 budget to the United Board at 9:30 a.m. The full business plan calendar is on the village website. If you go to the news tab, you can find it there. I just put on screen the version 1 dates for your information. Next slide, please. As our new director just mentioned, residents are eligible now for full-time employment. This went into effect on May 1st. As with employment at any organization, there are some personnel policies in place that apply to former board members and current board members. Please visit the lagunawoodsvillage.com website and scroll to the site's footer and click on careers to see a listing of open positions if you're interested in applying for a position. Next slide, please. I would like to touch on the Federal Communications Commission proposal that would adversely impact the village, and this deals with broadband bulk billing. The recent proposal would ban bulk billing arrangements in apartments, condominiums, housing cooperatives, and other multi-tenant buildings. As background, the village is a member of the National Content and Technology Cooperative, which partners with the community to provide network programming at a bulk price. Banning bulk billing would nearly triple the cost of programming here in the village. This is budgeted at more than $4.5 million in 2024, and we don't want to see that triple. How can residents help? Residents can help by contacting their representatives to express support for bulk billing arrangements and concern for the adverse impact the proposal would have on the village, especially to our fixed income seniors. On the village website under the news tab, there are 5 draft letters available for your use. You can just sign and date them, and these are addressed to your pertinent representatives. And these are shown on the screen before you. We have our U.S. Congresswoman, our U.S. Senator, the FCC commissioners, the House Subcommittee on Communications and Technology, and the Senate Subcommittee on Communications, Media, and Broadband. And again, we encourage our residents to please reach out to these representatives. We've made it as easy as possible if you use the letters that are available on the website. And please express your dismay for this proposal. At Gate 5, there are SCE, Southern California Edison, emergency repairs ongoing. Edison is replacing a failing underground vault and transformer at the north end of Avenida Sevilla, north of Gate 5. There are temporary road closures in place through Friday, May 17th. Avenida Sevilla is closed to through traffic at Via Porta during working hours, and one lane will be open to one-way traffic only overnight and on weekends until the work is completed. But hopefully the work will be done on Friday, so the weekend statement is not needed. As our new director mentioned, work at Clubhouse 1 is approximately 40% complete and proceeding on schedule. Per the work schedule, the contractor just finished up exterior painting and window and door replacements are wrapping up. They are starting work on interior component replacements, including flooring, lighting, and bathroom fixtures. And again, the project is on schedule for a reopening in early September. Yesterday, the Community Center Fitness Center implemented new hours. So as of yesterday, the Community Center Fitness Center is open Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And as a reminder, Clubhouse 5 Fitness Center is available daily from 5:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. We received a letter last week that was forwarded to all the board members indicating that the City of Laguna Woods is updating its general plan and zoning codes. The plans have a number of different components, but if we go to the next slide, the important thing is that you're aware that the documents are being updated and that the notice of availability of the draft environmental impact report for the proposed general plan and zoning code project is available for review on the city's website. It's cityoflagunawoods.org/project. The public comment period is May 9th through June 23rd. So if you're interested in that, please review the documents, and you can address any comments to planning@cityoflagunawoods.org, referencing the general plan and the zoning code update, and you want to mail comments to the city manager Christopher Macon at the city's address. And then since mosquito season is upon us, I want to remind our residents that mosquito control services are provided here in the village by the Orange County Vector Control District. Visit ocvector.org for information and resources regarding mosquito control. And if you have a service that you need in terms of mosquito control, please submit that using the web form on the ocvector.org website, and they respond very quickly to concerns that are submitted in this manner. This morning, I'd also like to take a quick minute to recognize the recent Employee Excellence Award winners. These awards are presented in the fall and the spring, highlighting outstanding employees who demonstrate excellent customer service, achieve great results on a project, and regularly go above and beyond their regular job duties. These are professionals who serve our residents, exceed service expectations, and make a positive impact on the village living experience. Recently recognized were the following employees. In the CEO's office, Paul Wynn, our Assistant Corporate Secretary. In Financial Services, Scott Kim, a stock clerk in our warehouse operation. In General Services, Neva Fambrow, bus driver. Preston Higgins, Production Coordinator with TV6. Guadalupe Hinojosa, our broadband technician. In Human Resources, Dan Yost, our Risk Manager. In Landscaping Services, Omar Cardiel, foreman, and Francisco Uribe, equipment operator in our mulch operation. In Maintenance and Construction, Gavin Fogg, manor alteration supervisor, and Jolene Quinn, operations specialist in damage restoration. In Recreation and Special Events, Martin Ford, golf shop coordinator, and Ron Spencer, senior recreation leader. In Resident Services, our concierge, who sits right out here at our concierge desk, Rebecca Kunisaki. And in Security, Bliselda Wright, compliance supervisor, and Bridget Portuguese, a security patrol officer. If you see these employees, please join me in thanking them for their outstanding contributions to our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Siobhan. The consent calendar is our next item. All matters listed below on the consent calendar are recommended for action by committees and will be enacted by the board in one motion. In the event that an event is removed from consent calendar by members of the board, such items shall be the subject of further discussion and action by the board. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar? Mickey, first, second, Georgiana? Discussion? Okay, we are voting by hand today, so all in favor, please. Thank you. Consent calendar is approved. Moving on to 12, unfinished business. We will entertain under 12A and a motion to approve revision to Standard 22 patio slabs, walkways, and pavers. The April notification of 28 days, remember review to comply with Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied. And Maggie, would you read that, please?
Okay, this is page 15 of 16 of agenda item 12A. It's pink. Resolution 0124XX, revised standard 22 patio slabs, walkways, and pavers. Whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual recognizes the need to amend standards and create new standards as necessary, and whereas the Mutual recognized the need to update and clarify the construction methods and materials of patio slabs, walkways, and pavers, now therefore be it resolved May 14, 2024, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts revision and amendments to Standard 22 patio slabs as attached to the official minutes of this meeting. And resolve further the Resolution 01-1920, adopted February 12, 2019, is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move this resolution.
Is there a second? Sue, seconds. Okay, thank you. Discussion? Tony?
Yeah, Madam Chair, thank you very much. I'd just like to let the people at home know that when you're going to pour a slab on section 3.7 here, make sure your contractor understands the demands here, because it's kind of technical about the type of cement and the wire rod. So I'd just like to tell people who are contemplating pouring a slab to make sure your contractor understands these. That's all I have.
Okay. Ellen?
I'm on the architectural committee,
Right.
and we reviewed this, and this addresses a lot of the water intrusion. So this addresses that the patio extensions will need restrict drainage, and all installations must have minimum slope and be able to drain to inlets. So it's specifically addresses drainage.
Wonderful. Nancy?
Yeah, I want to emphasize as well the issue about the water drainage and the slope, and that the contractor really needs to be working with the village. People have had stairs removed and put in a slope sidewalk for wheelchair access or something, and they haven't done it. And I've seen two situations where it was all installed and the contractor had to jackhammer it out and redo it again to meet. And that was all at the expense of the homeowner. So I can't emphasize enough how important that is.
Good. Maggie?
Yes, this is a very concise and correct standard resolution. It tells you exactly what to do and when to have it inspected. And if you follow these steps, we will not have trouble and you will not have trouble. So follow these steps. Thank you.
I will call the vote then if there's no further discussion. All those in favor? All right, unanimously accepted. Thank you. Moving on now to disciplinary report. I see Francis is here. Francis, welcome. This is the May 14th disciplinary report from our compliance manager.
Good morning. Thank you,
Morning.
Madam President. So before you is agenda item 12B. It's the disciplinary report for compliance matters for disciplinary matters. Before you is a table with the breakdown of cases for February to April of this year. We started the month of April with 360 cases and ended the month with 369 cases. Of noteworthy items, there is an increase of balcony and breezeway clutters, and there is a decrease of animal nuisance, general nuisance items, and carport clutter. So that concludes my report, and I'm available for the board if you have any questions.
Questions for Francis? Anthony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to get some kind of understanding of what's going on with this illegal occupancy, because I worry about some of our older residents if we don't know who these illegal occupancy things are. Can you give us some explanation, please?
Yes, so illegal occupancy cases, we receive reports whether from security or inter-departments or even from residents who would call and question whether the individuals residing in the unit are approved or have gone through the approval process. What we do is that we look at the internal database that's compiled by the Community Services Department. We put it against that. That's our information to go by. And we will request an occupancy check, which will be done either by the compliance inspectors or by security officers who will go out to the unit to ascertain who's residing in the unit. And so that gets documented. If it's a violation, we send a notice to the owner, to the member of the unit, and give them time to comply. If they don't, and comply but means either remove the individual who's not approved or go through the approval process, fill out the applications and submit and go through the approval process. In addition to that, we also deal with people who have overstayed past their lease, and we work very closely with the Community Services Department. So we would go and do an occupancy check to confirm whether those individuals still reside in the unit without approval. If they do, we start the disciplinary process, which will include the disciplinary notice, and then allow them time to either comply by submitting the proper documentation to go through the approval process or remove the individuals from the unit.
About how many are actually found to be violations of those complaints? If someone says, oh, I think.
I don't have the specifics
But
of that number.
approximately?
We would be able to pull it from the database.
Yeah.
But no, that's not a number that we track that I
Gotcha.
could pull up right away.
That's okay, thank you. I saw other hands too.
Yes. Thank you. I don't quite understand the chart, so maybe you can help me a little bit with this. On the February, March, April breakdown, I know it takes a long time to sometimes get action, to move things forward. You have to give notice, you have to do this and various things. So do some of these numbers just roll forward from February? It's, half of them may go into March.
Yeah.
Is that it? So we're not having 369 new cases this month. It's cumulative over a time period. Is that correct?
Correct. And it's more of a snapshot in time. So at the end of April, we ended with 369 cases. That's a combination of cases that have rolled over from one month to the other, and that's the cases of new cases that we have opened and started investigating under.
Okay.
And so during the month, we'll have some that are new, some that will fall off because they complied, and some that are still going through your process. And your process requires a courtesy notice initially. So we advise the member that, hey, the behavior that you're creating is a violation of the rules. This is the rule. And then we give them time to comply. If they don't comply, then it requires a final notice, which tells them you've been notified, you're still out of compliance, the next step is a hearing. And then there's specific hearing requirement timeframes that you have to adhere to, so then it just kind of keeps going and going. In the meantime, there's also some that are starting and then some that are falling off.
What is that time frame? Do you give them like 30 days notice for compliance? Like, say you have a neighbor who has lots of clutter and it's just, they're kind of a hoarder, and you get the courtesy notice. How many days do they have to take action to remedy that?
It depends, and it depends on this board and how conservative or how aggressive you want to be in the disciplinary process. The member hearings committee is very involved in those type of details. So for example, there was a period of time where it was very aggressive, so it was a 10-day turnaround period. That has since been lengthened. So now you're looking at more like a 20 to 30-day turnaround period that will allow the member to comply. Now for, like you mentioned, hoarding type cases, hoarding can only be classified by a professional social worker. So in our case, we deal with interior clutter. So when we get a phone call or a complaint about possible clutter or hoarding type conditions, we will work with social services and we will go out and inspect the unit. Obviously, the main concern is that there's nothing hazardous that would potentially injure the member or the building, and that there's clear pathways in case of an emergency. So those we would consider interior clutters. Depending on the severity of that, we will work with social services, and that'll determine whether it's a longer timeline or a shorter timeline.
Follow up? Yeah.
We have a problem where individuals are just throwing things out on their balcony and then trying to hide it with, behind rugs or whatever. And it really is lowering the standards of the community. What are the rules about just tossing things out on an exterior balcony and
Using it as
not
storage?
addressing it?
Using it as storage?
Yes.
Well, in those type of situations, we do recommend and encourage everyone to give us a call. We will investigate the matter. We will investigate and put it against your architectural rules that have coverings, pre-approved coverings. So if they have like the lattice or anything like that, we will put that against your architectural rules to see if they're in compliance or not. And then if it's something that's unsightly, that would be a visual nuisance, and we could open a disciplinary matter against that as well.
Thank you. We have a recent problem where somebody has safety pinned old rugs to their balcony to try to hide.
Not legal.
That is not part of your approved rules, so that
Okay.
would be a disciplinary matter that we would open.
Okay, thank you, thank you. I know many neighbors are concerned about this. Thank you.
Other questions for Francis about the report? Okay, thank you very much. We are remarkably well behaved, I think, as a community. But
Yes, overall, it's still a small percentage.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's a big part of it. Thank you so much. Moving on to new business, town halls, coming up in June. We had a successful one, I think, last Friday in terms of having a very interesting presentation from the project representative from PRS about the epoxy relining program. And previous to that, we had a representative from Lettner Roofing talking about the roofing program. Well, in June, Ellen, you and Georgiana, I believe, have something else in store for June 14th. Tell us about that.
Okay, correct. Since we're in the candidate stage at the end of May through the end of June, that there'll be candidate statements available at the front and in the community center, and we will review what a candidate statement looks like. We'll review how a website, how you can access the calendar on the website, how you can tell when there are committee meetings, how many committee meetings are there, different categories like finance and maintenance and construction, how it basically is your turn. And like Allison said, so this will be a recruitment town hall. And an educational one.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Sue?
I wondered, maybe not for this meeting, but in the future, if we couldn't have a segment of the town halls addressing budgetary concerns, because I think, as we go through the process for the 2025 budget, I think there are some serious budget concerns. And I don't want to have people surprised at the end of this process that all of a sudden there are assessment, the assessments that come out at the end of the year that we have to address various areas. So, I just wondered, and we don't have to decide on this moment, but perhaps think about it. Maybe we could allocate 10 to 15 minutes per meeting to just do like the hot hits. We're going to have various budgetary items that we have to consider because of funds that we did not have for maintenance that now need to be addressed. And so then that hits our reserves or our operating, and I think we should talk about these as they go along.
Okay,
So,
good idea.
just a thought.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, moving along.
Can I just have a comment on it?
Sorry?
Can I have a comment? Yes, it's a very important issue, and I really appreciate Vice President of this board has a real, big concern, and that is our major concern as a finance committee. So we're planning on it, but I have a little caution before we set up. I mean, we as a board, as a committee, really come into the detailed and careful consideration, and it could be immature to just bring out to the public and cause some of the unnecessary turmoil. I mean, I don't mean that we are not transparent and open, anything like that, but as a board, as a committee, we need to have our concrete thing, and then we are planning on it. So I really appreciate it, but our finance committee has an idea on that. And as soon as our budget process is setting up, I mean, we have a lot of information to inject as a board. So we are planning on it. Thank you very much. We will consider that. So as soon as we are ready, we'll have a town hall meeting, and of course, and we will bring up to the residents.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So I think we need to trust under the finance committee in a way that this issue is our issue. And yeah, of course, every department will invite all the items, of course, But yes, thank you. We are considering it.
Madam Chair, I'd like to say something. I think that this town hall will be about how we can recruit and teach them how to access the calendar, and they'll know when the budget meetings are, and they'll know when, because a lot of people don't know. They don't know how to access the agendas, and so I think that this will be mostly on recruitment. Maybe we have other month to talk about budgets.
Great. Good. Okay, the next item is to entertain a motion. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Pearl?
Yes,
I'm sorry, Georgia.
I was just going to say that what we're planning too is we want people to be able to ask questions, because some people may be thinking, oh no, I can't do this, I don't have the time, or whatever. And so we want it to be interactive as well, instructive but interactive, because sometimes you may think, well, I'd like to, but and so we want it to be sort of in a friendly environment where people are free to ask questions as well.
Previews of coming attractions. Okay, June 14th. All right, now we can go to a motion to approve the revised financial qualifications policy. And this is the initial notification of the 28-day period. And Maggie, would you read the resolution, please?
Okay, Resolution 0124XX, Revised Financial Qualifications Policy. Whereas United Laguna Woods Mutual is formed to provide housing to its members on a mutual nonprofit basis, and whereas it is in the best interest of the corporation to protect and preserve the financial integrity of the corporation, and whereas United desires to clarify that, it recognizes Third Mutual's multiple unit owner requirements for members desiring to purchase a unit in United Laguna Woods Mutual when other units are owned in the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved June 11, 2024, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby approves to amend Section 3D, ownership of multiple memberships, of its financial qualifications requirements, as attached to the official meeting minutes of this meeting, And resolved further that staff is hereby directed to disseminate this information to the realty community serving Laguna Woods Village. And resolved further that Resolution 012154, adopted August 10th, 2021, and Resolution 012160, adopted September 14th, 2021, are hereby superseded and canceled. And resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. I move this resolution.
Is there a second to the motion? Second? Lydia seconds the motion. Okay, discussion. And do we have a staff report, please? Pamela. We will not be seeing you for much longer, will we? Pamela's scheduled to be retiring pretty soon. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Good morning, honorable directors. This item could be considered a housekeeping item. I've made some notes to myself, so pardon me if I'm not doing the eye contact routine. This really relates to multiple unit owners. This proposal was reviewed by the Governing Documents Review Committee on April 18 and referred to the board. The core provision of United's membership is that only one co-op membership can be owned, except when an interim dual membership agreement is executed. That allows a member to move from one co-op to another and gives them 6 months to sell the first co-op. Because of the restriction to own just one co-op membership, there was never a need or a perceived need to develop multiple unit owner financial requirements in United. It just didn't compute. However, the investment activity landscape has been altered quite a bit over recent years. I don't need to tell you legislative activity that has caused United's core values to be altered. A trend became very evident whereby purchasers acquired a unit first in Third Laguna Hills Mutual. Subsequently, they wanted to buy in United, and by doing so, they circumvented Third's stepped-up income and asset requirement. It happened over and over again, and we recognize that what affects one corporation ultimately may affect both. I only need to point out the situation with insurance. Formerly you were bundled, now you're not, and now no one apparently can afford a replacement unit policy, which affects lending, which affects purchasing, etc. For the reasons I've just mentioned and others, the Governing Docs Committee has endorsed a change to United's financial qualification that reflects United recognizes and incorporates the stepped-up income and asset requirement into your own financial requirements. Page 3 of 36. I think you have a color copy, so you can see the red text, item D, number 2, that reflects this recognition. Well, I won't read it to you because I know you've already read it, but in essence, United will recognize Third Mutual stepped-up income and asset requirements. Those stepped-up income and asset requirements for multiple unit owners appears on page 5. There are no changes. This is what currently is in effect for Third Mutual. We made a further change to the financial qualification policy on page 7, merely by defining Third Mutual and Laguna Woods Mutual, since we're saying that if you own units in those corporations and now you want to buy in United, you must meet the stepped-up income and asset requirement.
Also, 11 of 36.
Yes, I'm just tabbing over there. So item D2, also in red font, further clarifies the situation. We actually have been practicing this for several years. Recently, a letter was received by the board objecting to that fact that stepped-up income and asset requirement was not shown in your qualification policy. It was never an intent not to be transparent. This, we think, is transparent and will protect United and Third going forward.
Questions for Pamela, comments? Ellen?
Okay, so this is a little complicated to me. What is the actual income if you're buying a unit, if you have 2 units? Is it 45,000?
If you're buying 1 unit in United,
It's
40,000.
It's 40.
But if
Yeah.
you have other units, if I can get to the right page, on page 5 of 36, you'll see under section 5A, unit 2, if you own 2 units, it's the purchase price for the first unit plus 125,000, and the purchase price for the second unit plus 125,000.
So
that-
250,000?
Correct.
Okay.
So that ensures that somebody who owns in both mutuals has the financial resources to afford that investment.
Plus the purchase price of the unit?
Plus, that's the first item.
So
Purchase price plus 125, purchase price plus 125 for unit 2.
Or loan, whatever, even if they get a private loan, it would be the loan amount. So why would, okay, so whatever, okay, the purchase price or the loan amount for the unit plus 125,000 in the bank. So basically 125 and the unit and the purchase, the amount of the purchase, either it be a loan or the money in the bank, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you've already qualified for one, so when you go for the second, the terms change. Everything changes to 45.
And your personal circumstances may have changed. And so it's an update.
And 250, when, okay. When Third already required 125, right?
Correct.
Yes, in essence, it means that you cannot buy 1 to 2 or 3 with the same bundle of money. You have to have a bundle of money for each. It's not 0 to 10 for one, it's 1 each. And so that's the coverage that we need. Thank you.
Georgiana?
Yes, I was wondering, is there a limit on how many someone can buy?
I would say that someone can buy as many as they can afford.
Got the money.
But only 2 condos can be simultaneously occupied. And of course, there's just 1 co-op. So an investor, and there are many, can own 3 units in the village and have all of them leased out, or they might occupy 1 and lease out 2. There's no reason to buy more than 3 units unless you're going to remodel and resell.
Well, I'm just asking because it seemed to me years ago there was a developer from New York who wanted to start buying a bunch of them here. And so I'm wondering if we have anything to protect us from something like that.
Well, I'm not a legal eagle, but I would say that your governing documents make it quite clear that you can only own 1 co-op.
Okay.
So United, I think, is far more protected than a condominium association.
Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. What appeals to me about this whole thing, it shows that Third is Third and United is United, but somehow or other, we have to learn to work together in order to preserve the village. And so I'm pleased to see that we're doing something along this line. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Questions? If there are no further questions about this, sorry, Michaela?
There is a member comment, if that's okay.
Sure.
It would be for Richard Rader.
Dick Rader, 270D. I was looking this over, and I think I've got it. It sounds like, well, first of all, under D3, current members of one mutual wish to purchase another mutual are required to meet the financial requirements of the mutual in which they are purchasing. That's very clear. But where I'm a little bit confused, and let's see if I've got it. If you are going to, let's say you're in third, you want to purchase United, you have to meet two financial qualifications. One, you have to prove that you meet theirs, and then you have to meet ours. So you have to have two pots of money, as it were. So I understand that. But now let's go to number 3, D3.
What page, Dick?
Oh, gee, what is it now? 436.
Oh, thank you.
There are 3 sentences there. The last one. By following third mutual's multiple unit owner requirements ensures that respective member will have the financial means to secure and afford the purchase of additional units in the long run. We're not following their financial requirements. Their financial requirements are different. So I think that's a little confusing. We're saying we're following theirs. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
I understand the intent. The intent is that you want them to follow our financial requirements as well as theirs. And you're in this statement there, it seems that if you want to follow, we're going to follow their requirements. Their requirements are different from ours. It's just not clear, is what I'm trying to say. Do you get the point?
Okay, what I think that is trying to do is saying they have their requirements. We want to be sure that we have our requirements clearly stated for us in addition to whatever third has, so that you do need a requirement for each separately.
Well, okay, but I had to listen very carefully to what was going on here before I really grasped it. And I don't know that, I didn't have a chance, I have to confess, to read the whole document. But I hope that if you review it, that it has clarity, that you have to meet two financial requirements. That didn't come across when I was reading that first portion there. I had to hear the clarification by Pamela and the discussion.
Duly noted. Are we ready to take?
Madam Chair,
Ellen?
I agree with Dick, but I found it very confusing. I don't know why we have Third Laguna Hills Mutual requirements attachment here. Why do we have that? Why don't we have our own? I don't know.
Because our documents state that we can only allow one ownership in United. And so this acknowledges the fact that as a community, as Tony pointed out, that we work together on some things, and Pamela pointed out that we need to work cooperatively and, with Third, that there are other requirements, and we will be acknowledging them in the process of doing business. However, our United requirements apply to only the one co-op unit that someone is buying here. We have to acknowledge that the other stuff exists, and Third is we are in agreement with their standards, but we can only, of course, enforce our one unit policy here. Pamela, is there more to be added to this?
Can I just comment?
So yes, this really relates to multiple unit ownership. And since multiple unit ownership doesn't exist in United, except for the interim dual ownership, and that's very infrequent, there must be a way, we believe, to be respectful of the rest of your community who doesn't want to have any of their memberships foreclosed upon because somebody can't afford it after they qualified originally in Third and then bought something in United, and now both corporations may suffer. So Mr. Rader asked me who enforces this. And so this is reviewed by the resale process. Every time a new packet comes in, we are searching via several key factors, whether somebody owns in the community, because they're not always forthcoming to escrow or to their realtor. So we're searching, and if they have a multiple unit situation, there's a loan on it, there's not a loan on it, there are ways to find that out, and we call that out to escrow. And we are asking, are there additional assets? Is there additional income? Because people typically don't want to tell you everything that they have. They want to give you enough to qualify for what they're buying, and that's fair. And since they want to buy multiple ownerships, they typically will produce another bank statement, another investment portfolio to show, yes, I have the resources necessary.
Nikki?
Yeah, just simply speaking, if we only own United Mutual's unit, we don't have to worry about it. But if you want to have additional unit in Third Mutual, then we have to follow Third Mutual's policy. That's simple as like that. You know?
This just clarifies, it just adds a sentence in there. The third whereas, it recognizes Third Mutual's multiple unit owner requirements for members desiring to purchase that. It's just putting in clarification. It's always been true. Now we make it even more plain by printing it there and saying, hey, what, you can't, it's not 1 for 3 or 2 for 3 or anything like that. It's 1 for this and 1 for this and 1 for this, and you can't do more than 1 for United, and that's it. It changes nothing, it just clarifies.
Ellen?
Okay. What do we do now?
We vote on it.
We just debt ratio them with the third unit, correct? What do we do now without this? Do you require $250,000 in the bank now? I don't do the resale packages. So what is required now?
Pamela?
We do. We require those assets to be shown on their financial
250
documents.
now?
Yes.
Right.
Oh, so it always has been this?
Right.
Yes.
We just haven't identified it?
Correct.
Right.
Okay, so if
If they're buying, if they are in the position of wanting to own 2 units, one here and one in Third, that's the 250.
So it could be the same 125?
No, it can't.
No.
That's the point.
What?
It cannot be the same.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I buy a unit here and I show you 125.
Yes.
But the second unit, you need to come up with a
You
250.
can't, that would be for third, yeah.
Okay, right. Well, I
Can't
know
double
we can't own
collateralize.
Yeah.
Sue?
I think, in reading right above that, what Dick was talking about, on page 4 of 36, the existing language is also pretty clear. It says by following, number 3 at the top of the page, it says current, and this is existing language, current members of one mutual who wish to purchase in another mutual are required to meet the financial requirements of the mutual in which they are purchasing. So, it just says, if this is what Third or this is what the Towers or whatever is charging, we have to comply with that. So that's just if I understand this correctly.
So if you added the word separately, current members of a mutual who wish to purchase in another mutual are required to separately meet the financial requirements of the mutual in which they are purchasing. And
That's a good
just
idea.
stresses it out, just put it separately.
Yeah.
But that isn't part of the.
We
So
could amend it.
That's
We could
just
move that.
clarifying.
Are you proposing to amend the resolution, adding the word separately, Maggie?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second to that amendment? Sue? Okay. All right. Any discussion on the amendment, adding the word separately? Okay. Are we prepared now to vote first on the amendment? Shall we agree to Now we're voting, Richard, please. Okay, can we vote to approve the addition of the word separately as described? Those in favor? Thank you. We will add the word separately. Can we now vote on the main motion? Favor? Pamela?
I have one suggestion that
Yes,
would help
please.
clarify this. In the event Third Mutual revises its multiple unit owner requirements
In the future.
you might want to add clarifying language to say, and I can't tell you where to put it right now, but, or any changes there too. So that when that happens, you don't have to change your policy, you're
Right.
just changing that number.
Okay. Well, we will await your.
Because it's always a moving target.
Yeah.
And if you
Okay.
disagree with what their change is, then you could consider coming up with your own multiple unit owner formula, and not referring to third whatsoever.
Okay, understood. The vote has been taken, the motion passes, we're done with this.
Did we vote? We are voting. We're voting on the amendment.
May I?
We did, we voted on the amendment before we voted on the. Yes, yes, and it has passed.
I'm sorry, may I
Yes.
ask a question?
Am I wrong?
I would like to, I understand we amended it to put in separately.
And
Now-
we voted the motion.
Right, and we voted that motion and it passed.
Yes.
Now I would like to add an amendment to this that
No.
would do exactly what Pamela is suggesting, that we just modify it to say that the changes in this income requirements are mirrored. Because otherwise we'll have to come back and do this again.
Tom?
I believe we passed the amendment, but we now need to vote on the main motion as amended.
Correct. That's
Thank
what
you.
I have recorded as well.
Okay. thank
Okay,
you.
and then can I move the second amendment?
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
You will move your second, and where would you insert those words?
I don't know, I would leave it to Pamela to insert them in the appropriate spot.
I recommend we put that to governing docs, any additional changes, and they can come back, so we don't hold up our day on this.
Okay,
Well, let's vote on this then.
all right, go ahead. I'm not sure, yeah, can we read the motion? I'm not sure where we stand right now.
The amendment to the second amendment or the
Second
motion?
amendment.
I don't have it recorded, unfortunately, at the moment.
It's the motion as amended. On now.
Right, okay. And future, Pamela, what did you say? In future amendments, in future changes?
Or any financial changes there too.
And
And that's
any
just-
future or any financial changes?
Both.
Any future?
I'm not so good at coming up with something right now, but I could get it to you by this afternoon, and the group could consider it. You might approve it now, disclosing to the public that you
Right.
might wordsmith it just a bit more later today, and it's still on a 28-day public comment
Okay,
period.
I think that's a very sane way to proceed. Is that agreeable to all? Can we now vote the motion? Okay. Richard, all right? You're burning up here with
Yeah,
excitement.
I just want to make sure of something. What I heard was, this was to protect Third, so in case somebody bought in United, that Third wouldn't suffer if they didn't have enough money to pay both Third and United.
And we would not suffer either by that.
That's what I want to get at.
Yeah.
Is that in the wording, that we also are protecting ourselves in the same manner?
That's why we
I'm not
said
sure it's in
separately.
there, is it?
That's why we said separate.
Okay, thank you. The vote is ready now to be taken. Those in favor? Unanimously approved. Thank you very much. Pearl was away for the moment. Ellen?
I voted no.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So we have 9 for and 1 against, one absent, and I guess I'm abstaining. Thank you. To be continued later with additional information
month.
from Pamela this afternoon. Thank you.
for next month. This is the first reading.
Yeah, this is the first reading, yes.
I'm not sure if Pamela is leaving. I think we owe her, a great deal of appreciation for the many, many years that she has worked here and guided us and very patiently listened to us, because it can be quite exasperating to sit through governing documents and also all the financial things that you do for us. So I wanted to make sure that we acknowledged you and wished you well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, item C, entertain a motion to approve the subleasing, resales, and membership transfer fees. And this is entering 28-day notification. Maggie, would you please read the resolution?
All right. Resolution 0124XX, subleasing, resales, and membership transfer fees. Whereas the Community Services Division collects fees when processing resale packages, non-escrow membership transfers, and subleasing and lodger applications, and whereas the processing fees have been in place for several years and are currently included in the associated policies, but have not been officially approved by way of resolutions, and whereas all community services fees established by the board should be identified in one resolution and placed on the website to provide transparency and improve communications, now therefore be it resolved June 11, 2024, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby ratifies and adopts the following fee schedule related to processing all resale packages, non-escrow membership transfers, and subleasing lodger applications. United Sublease Permit Lodger Room Rental Fees. Administration processing fees, $160. Application rush fee, $100 extra. Application renewal fee, $160. Application extension fee, if the original agreement is less than 12 months, $60. United resale fees, additional fee for recording of memorandums for cash sales, $280. Membership certificate, non-escrow transfer, $50. Recording of memorandums, new, $280. Resolved further that Resolution 0113-138 is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolved further that the fee schedule shall be placed on the website, and resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move this resolution.
You move the resolution. Is there a second? A second, please, to the resolution. Thank you, Sue. Okay. Discussion. This has come up in discussion before. It's been a long time since these were revised. Sure. Ellen?
Is this memorandum for cash sales was that a fee what was that fee before? Everything's cash sale anyway, correct? And the memorandum for cash sale, what was it before? Oh, $0. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Other questions, comments on this? All right. We will vote this resolution. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. Resolution passes. Thank you. Next resolution, we will entertain a motion to approve the revised United Mutual Maintenance and Construction Committee Charter. And Maggie, would you read the resolution, please?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Pamela.
Resolution 0124XX, United Maintenance and Construction Committee Charter. Whereas on January 12, 2010, pursuant to Article 7, Section 1 of the bylaws, the Board of Directors of this corporation re-established the Maintenance and Construction Committee as a standing committee, and whereas on November 19, 2019, the Board of Directors reviewed and approved a revised committee charter, and whereas the Maintenance and Construction Committee's charter is periodically revised to reflect the current focus of this standing committee, now therefore be it resolved May 14, 2024, that the committee shall maintain a working relationship with the Maintenance and Construction Department of the Managing Agents Organization to ensure that the real property and fixtures owned and managed by United Laguna Woods Mutual are maintained, reconditioned, improved, or augmented as necessary or desired to meet the policies established by the Board of Directors or as required by government agencies that have a standing in establishing public policy. And resolved further that the committee shall review budget requirements, service levels, all attendant costs, and projected income related to services to be provided by the Maintenance and Construction Department, and make necessary recommendations to the Finance Committee and Board of Directors, and resolve further that the committee shall review on a continuing basis short-term and long-range plans and needs for building and infrastructure maintenance, and in consultation with appropriate committees, recommend to the Board of Directors appropriate means for achieving such plans and needs, and resolve further that the committee shall monitor major operating and reserve maintenance programs, such as roofing, asphalt maintenance and replacement, external painting, and the like, and resolve further that the committee shall establish building colors palette and determine primary roof, building, and trim colors for buildings as appropriate, and resolve further that the committee shall perform such other tasks as may be approved and assigned by the Board of Directors, and resolve further that Resolution 01-1986, adopted November 12, 2019, is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolve further that the officers and or agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. I move this resolution.
Is there a second? Lydia, thank you. Okay, discussion? Nancy?
I don't agree with the resolution as amended. There's just too many important elements that are being removed.
I'm sorry, I did not hear you. Would you repeat?
I said I don't agree with the amended resolution. I think there are too many important elements that are being removed from committee purview and ultimately decision-making or what will come up to the board.
I didn't hear the second part, please. Would you have a repeat?
Again, I don't agree with it because I believe that too much is being taken away from the committee's purview, and what comes up before the committee purview then comes up to the board, and there's involving in planning and in the planning process.
Sue?
President Bach, can you give me some examples of that? I just want to understand your concern.
Well, look at how many are redlined out.
Okay.
For example, it's taking out the short. For example, they're taking out that the committee will have review maintenance service level requirements. Just this morning, we had an issue separately about landscape and how often grass should be cut. I think these are things that come before the committee. Our committees do a lot of important work, and maintenance and construction has a lot of important elements to it. The next one, the committee shall explore and review suggestions for short-term and long-term improvements and cost-effective programs. We are hitting some major financial hurdles, and I think taking this purview away from the committee, that is the heart of some of these recommendations that come up to the board, is wrong.
Nancy, excuse me, it is re-entered under
It
the...
is re-entered, short-term
And
and
long-term
long-term.
plans, yeah. It is there.
It's in the very next paragraph.
The committee shall review as needed the substance of specifications, et cetera, et cetera. The committee shall review all requests for unbudgeted components, et cetera, et cetera. These are being excluded. I just don't agree with it. I don't think that's a good practice. It should be the way this mutual runs and operates and is committee-driven, and we rely upon the committees and the comments by the residents and stuff at the committee level. I think it's a mistake to making these many changes and excluding this from the committee's charter and, I want to say authority, but their purview. And ultimately, their purview is what comes up to the boards for decision-making. And this is a pretty significant, important committee.
This was prepared by Manuel Gomez. Is there someone prepared, Catherine, to speak on behalf of staff?
They're not here.
Okay, thank you.
I would add that this has the appearance to me, without saying this for sure, that the committee wasn't involved in writing this resolution.
Well, this was presented on April 24th at United M&C. We met and unanimously voted that the suggested revisions be approved by the board. So that was the point at which to bring these up, and I think we had a fulsome discussion at the time of them. The revisions have been approved, they've been reviewed. There's been some wordsmithing in them, and I'm a little surprised to find your objections so strenuous at this point, having seen it before.
Well, I wasn't in that committee, but, so this is the first time
Okay.
I've had an opportunity to comment and be involved, but I've been involved in planning before, and unrelated planning, as you know. And so some of the things were triggers for me, relating one process to the other. And so those are just my professional comments.
Duly noted. Pearl? Well, if there are no further, Pearl, did you, okay.
So I have a question to Director Carlson. So what you're saying is we are not ready to make any decision on this? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
You are not ready. One person, yes.
This is the first reading. We can pass it for the first reading and require that someone come to answer these questions at the second reading before the final vote. So we do that.
Okay.
Right. I think the committee itself should discuss this. Again, this is my first opportunity to see and review this, but that is my opinion at this point.
Your observations?
I
Thank you.
think the committee will meet before our next meeting.
Right.
And so they will have a chance. And then at our next meeting, before we take the final vote on this, we will hear from the committee and the staff.
Right. And I want to amend my comment. I think observations is a better term than opinion, because this is my first read of this in detail, but being involved in planning, I have a lot of considerations about that. This should be tight and correct.
All right, duly noted.
Madam Chair.
Ellen?
I don't know. I'd like to move that, I make a motion that we
There is a
send this.
motion on the floor.
Okay, we'll amend the motion. Okay, that we send this back to committee,
That-
because I do, okay.
That's a different motion.
Okay, well then, I want to make a motion that we send it back to
You
committee.
can't make a motion in the middle of my motion.
Okay.
One motion at a time.
Well,
Okay.
all right, I
All
think,
right. Is there further discussion on this? The motion on the floor is to approve this and move it through the 28-day notification process. We have heard discussions. We don't have staff present to do a report, to fill out the staff report. We will now do a vote by hands of those to want to vote to approve this to move forward. Those in favor? Okay, opposed? Okay, motion moves forward. Thank you. Ellen, did you want to remake your motion now?
No, abstained.
It's voted. I just wanted to move this back to, motion to move it back to committee to look at some of those things that Nancy brought out regarding the unbudgeted components. And I think it's necessary that the committee that I serve on review this again.
Second? I think it's a given that during the 28-day notice process, this
Right.
will occur. I'm not sure that you need a motion to this effect.
Right, and
Is that right?
we're asking for staff to be here to help us out at the next time.
I would agree.
that
With
satisfactory?
this assessment, we don't need a separate motion for that.
Yeah,
That's right.
okay, thank you. We'll move forward then to, well, we've got a couple of items now to look at. In 13E, a motion to approve supplemental appropriation from the replacement fund of our budget for the dry rot repair program. And Maggie, would you please read?
Right. Resolution 0124XX, supplemental appropriation for dry rot repair program. Whereas, as part of the annual exterior prior to paint program, staff inspects the condition of all wood elements that are scheduled to receive new exterior paint coating, and whereas any wood components that are found to have dry rot are replaced with new wood in preparation for painting, and whereas an unusually large and unanticipated amount of dry rot has been uncovered that requires removal and replacement, and whereas the funding levels allocated in the 2024 business plan for dry rot repairs will not be sufficient to fund all of the work needed to complete the 2024 paint program, and whereas a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $500,000 is needed to provide funding for unanticipated dry rot repairs. Now, therefore, be it resolved on May 14, 2024, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby authorize a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $500,000 to be funded from the reserve fund for unanticipated dry rot repairs, and resolved further, that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. I move this resolution.
Is there a second? Tom, thank you. Discussion? You'll note that this is coming from a contingency. This is an emergency repair, not exactly negotiable, you know. We have exposed wood, we have problem known, and we need to solve problem as we know it. So, discussion, Anthony?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm need to coming it from contingency or reserves?
Well, contingency is part of reserves, so it's,
Yeah.
that's sort of in the middle of the things. Tom?
This is a reserve fund expenditure,
Yeah,
and it's been approved by M&C Committee unanimously and approved by the Finance Committee unanimously.
thank you. Steve, do you have a?
Forgive me, just for a clarification, so there are multiple funds, so contingency is a separate fund from the reserves. So it is not treated as such. It's part of arguably the operating fund. So when we're talking about this motion, it's the reserve only.
Okay, very good. Sue?
Well, yes, I totally agree that this needs to take place. We can't defer the dry rot. It is happening now. We have to address it. But, for those listening at home and those in the audience, this is another example of how we're taking money out of the reserves, so that dollar amount goes down. And ultimately, we will have to pay the price on this. We'll have to increase the funds necessary in 2025 to cover this cost, or we just acknowledge that those funds continue to go down. So just want people to be aware of what we're facing.
Thank you. Maggie?
Yes, and with the reduced prior to paint program happening 5 years longer, this will increase. Our dry rot repair will increase because we're not even looking at it within 5 years. So we need to be prepared in our budget to consider that indeed, if we look later, we see more. And so that's it, so.
Thank you. Okay. We prepared to vote, Pearl?
Well, not only bigger, but more expensive to
Yes.
work on it later. So I think we have all this, we have to consider all these times, keep pushing it back is not necessarily the best solution. And of course, then we have to work with the reserve situation now. So it's just really a very difficult situation. But we need to deal with this sooner the better.
Thank you. We ready to vote? All those in favor? All right, passes unanimously. Thank you. Next, we have another motion to approve a supplemental appropriation from contingency fund for emergency roof repairs. Maggie?
Resolution 0124XX, supplement appropriation for emergency roof repairs. Whereas there are 1,124 buildings in United Mutual with a mixture of flat and sloped roofs. That means not on a building, but that means different building. Whereas unusually wet rainy seasons in 2023 and 24 have resulted in an unprecedented number of roof repair requests, and whereas the approved budget allocation for emergency roof repairs in 2024 is $90,000, and whereas a supplement appropriation in the amount of $121,445 is needed to provide funding to pay for services rendered and anticipated costs for the remainder of 2024. Now, therefore, it be resolved on May 14, 2024, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby authorize a supplement appropriation in the amount of $121,445 to be funded from the reserve fund for unanticipated emergency roof repairs, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. I move this resolution.
Second, please. Thank you, Mickey. Discussion? Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to know, the money they're asking for, is this earmarked in our reserves for this purpose, or is this a new item from the reserves?
Well, roof repairs are in reserves, but this is asking for additional beyond the anticipated budget that was set
Right,
aside.
so it's not been earmarked in the reserves as we understand the reserves.
yeah.
Thank you.
Correct.
It's an additional cost, isn't it?
It's an additional cost beyond what, we knew we were going to be fixing some roofs. We didn't put enough into that particular budget category last year. And surprise, surprise. Sue?
If I may, last year, when we were working on the budget, we looked at it, and there was a recommendation that some of these roofs could be delayed until the following year, the roof replacement or repairs, and they did a review, and they thought that this was a very tangible, doable thing. And so I can't remember, there were like 6 or 7 that were pushed into the new year, and so now here we are, and we're having the same problems. I hate to be a broken record on this, but we are going to have to true up on what is truly needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And in the 2025 budget, it's going to be quite a reckoning, I think, in all the areas. So.
Thank you. Pearl?
Well, I also, if I understood it correctly, these additional cost does not necessarily means that we are fixing extra units.
No.
These are the extra costs because of the increased rate on the material and the labors and the situation that's happening outside of here that we have no control over.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's true.
It's not only it's going to be increased this year, but it's the way it's going to be in the future, I believe.
Yes, Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to ask Steve, in our reserve component, don't we have items earmarked for certain things in the 30-year plan?
You absolutely do. So, and to what President Bach was referring to before, so the topic of roofing is earmarked using your term, but from a dollar perspective. When we put it in the budget, we anticipate a certain amount. When we're dealing with actuals, we're finding that it's requiring more money than we anticipated, to the tune of the $121,000.
So we have to rob Peter to pay Paul for...
Not necessarily, right? I mean, from a budget perspective, we anticipated one thing, and given circumstances of supply chains and all the other factors that are out there, again, we just unfortunately need to put a little bit more money into this project.
Tom?
Yeah, I'd like Guy West to come up and address this. If I recall hearing it, that a lot of these roof repairs are not because the roofs aren't holding up, the material's not holding up, but there's been damage to the roofs caused by some unknown sources or some known sources and that. So if you could maybe clarify that.
Thank you. I'd be more than happy to try to provide some clarification. So we do track these leaks. We track the roofs that the leaks are occurring on. There are some circumstances that we look at, and one of them is we have found when we're installing the PVC roofs, it's a newer roof, and we're replacing a built-up roof. And so we're really keen to looking at if those are lasting as long as we anticipate them to last, and they are. And that's what I reported at the M&C. What we did find on that particular type of roof, which is a flat roof, is there's unknown damage, meaning somebody was on the roof and maybe dropped a tool or they were cutting something else on top of that roof. And when we go up there to inspect these, we find this damage, but it's not a typical worn out roof or any kind of repair that would be for the installation if there was a defect in installation or a defect in materials. So those we address. But that's not the majority of what we're finding. There are a couple of roofs out there that we're noticing some life expectancies that aren't meeting whatever they were expected to meet. So if there's a 40-year expectancy, those roofs are not making it to 40 years. So those we look at that now. Now we're gathering that data so that in future years, when we're planning these roof replacements, we're looking for what is going wrong, why aren't these roofs lasting as long as they're anticipated, and what we're finding is, although the roof material, whether it be and I may be speaking a lot here, I hope I don't take too much of your time, just to give you an example. So if you have a sloped roof would have concrete shingles on it, all right? Underneath that is an underlayment, and it's typically the industry standard is a felt, some type of polymer that's been woven together. And that felt helps protect, keeps the moisture out. That's more of a moisture barrier. So although the tile may last 70 years, this concrete tile, it's the underlayment that's failing. The expectancy for the underlayment is approximately 20 to 25 years. So when they put these roofs on and someone told them, hey, you have a 40-year roof, what they didn't take into account is that the underlayment is going to fail sooner than the actual tiles. So those tiles would need to be removed, the underlayment replaced, and those tiles can be reused again. That's just an example. Sorry to take up so much time, but it's things like that we're watching these to make sure that we can address them in future years and future budgets.
Thank you, Guy. Questions, further comment? Okay, shall we call the vote then to approve the supplemental appropriation for emergency roof repairs? All those in favor, raise your hands. Okay, unanimously approved. Thank you. Next, we will entertain a motion to approve revision of Standard 11 doors exterior. This will now enter the 28-day approval process, review process. And
Resolution 0124XX, revised Standard 11 doors exterior. Whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual recognizes the need to amend standards and create new standards as necessary, and whereas the mutual recognizes the need to update and clarify the construction methods and materials of all exterior doors, now therefore be it resolved June 11th, 2024, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts revision and amendments to Standard 11, Doors Exterior, as attached to the official minutes of this meeting, and resolve further Resolution 01-1884, adopted August 14, 2018, is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move this resolution.
Second, please. Second, please. Thank you, Sue. Okay, discussion. There's a staff report in there from, and I see Ellen is here. Is there any need to go over the details of the staff report on this revision?
I have.
Yes, Nancy, go ahead,
Find
Maggie.
my note. I have a question about, it seems to me, on looking at page 13 of 16, 2.2, I am concerned because we have had sliders put in walls onto common areas in the past, because that was erroneously passed as an alteration. I think the 25 feet away or in original plan location, I would prefer that. Or is more, or it, I don't, what I'm trying to prevent is for us to have to take an alteration sliding glass window, floor to ceiling, or pretty much, a sliding glass door put in where a window used to be. And some units had that in the past. And then the member, of course, wants to put in a real sliding glass door and then needs the common areas, stepping stones, and a pathway. So we're giving them standing pathways, so on. So I would just want to add something in here, something maybe a 2.4, 2.5. The original plan
Let's have Ellen comment on that, please. Ellen Grimshaw is here.
Okay, maybe we don't
Yeah.
need it.
Yeah,
Thank
okay,
you.
please. Let's see.
Good.
Well, now, good afternoon, President
Oh,
Bach.
it is afternoon, okay.
Directors. Well, let me try and answer your question, but clarify it for me so I address your concerns.
Okay, there's a 4,600 civil code that prevents us from giving away any common land without a 2/3 vote of all members of the mutual. A majority of those 2/3 must be in favor of giving the land to the member. And so if a doorway, if a slider, which has been allowed in the past, I've seen them, if a slider is then, the member puts in a sliding glass door, then by law he must have an egress pad, and that's common land, and then he's going to want a walkway here. And so by allowing us to continue to put in or to modify or allow any change in an existing such entryway onto the common area, that would require a 2/3 vote of the people, and a majority of those voting must vote in favor of giving this land away. Now, that would cost us about $24,000 in a ballot. So we cannot give land to one person and not all others equally. That's the idea of the law, is that the common area belongs to all of us, and we all have a right to speak on it. And so, due to the fact that someone in the past allowed this to happen, we still are under the restriction of the law of 4600 that we can't just give it to them. We'll give it to you because the law now says we have to have a landing area. Well, that compounds the issue. And so my concern is that we cannot do that part if it is allowed here. So I would hold us to the original plan. Exits must be preserved. Exits may not be increased. Exits to the original plan, I don't know. Exits to the original plan may not be doorways. No, no exits.
I understand.
Yeah.
I think those were accommodations sometimes that were done for people with disabilities.
Right.
They converted a window into a sliding glass door in order to accommodate, let's say, a wheelchair or other means of egress out of a unit. And so that's a rarity, but it does exist.
It does exist, but that should be altered on sale of the property.
Back to original?
That's back to the original, on sale of the property. So that's where we should take care of that, if it's an exchange.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
I think, I see where Maggie is going with this, but this is a policy just for revising the doors and what they should look like. So I think this might be taking it a step further than what the intent was just to say what kind of doors you can, what they must look like, and the product that they must use.
Right. If this policy does not create a door or allow the creation of a doorway, except onto the patio and exclusive use areas, which is just fine, then that's fine. But I'm unclear. That's why I'm unclear about the 25 feet away from the other front doors.
Right. So, can you hear me?
No.
So let me try and clarify. Director Blackwell is correct that there are very specific requirements for landings and what you can or cannot do with a landing. You can't put, for example, a landing on common ground. But Director Quam is also correct that this specific standard or the revisions to it are primarily addressing the doors themselves, what types of doors you can put in, how large the doors can be. We're addressing the architectural features of the doors and clarifying that. Currently, the standard does not have a specific guideline for landings, but we could insert that if that is a legitimate concern that you want to address. But currently, the standard does not address the landing.
Madam?
Yeah, Nancy?
The issue of landings is covered by the building code. If somebody wants to change it to put an exterior door in what Maggie describes, it's covered by the building code. If they have to do it, it's a variance. That's handled. We don't need to have it in here. This is a door policy. So if some contractor comes in and I say I want this done, he has to know the building codes, he has to get a permit for it. Permits departments can say that's part of the building code, the building code calls for this, you're going to have to get a variance. I think we've solved the problem.
Yeah, this is doors.
We're not eliminating the process of going through manner alterations for compliance to the mutual guidelines. That's still in effect. Also, city permit may.
So my worries are allayed then?
Yes.
This will not happen? So it will only be an existing door or one that opens onto exclusive use area, right? This will not be a new doorway in the back of the building or somewhere else?
Correct, because they would have to get a variance, and that would be a whole separate
It
process.
doesn't, I mean, there can't be a variance that does that.
Excuse me, that's the
Period.
definition of variance. You get, people can petition for
Okay,
variance, and they accept it or
Let's
deny.
not- We have a motion on the floor for under consideration to approve this resolution. Are we ready to vote the resolution? Those in favor?
Yes.
All in favor? All right, thank you. Unanimously passes. Thank you so
Well,
much. Good.
okay.
And our
But-
last motion,
I will ask the same question again next time.
okay. Entertain a motion to appoint Jeff Spees, Patty Curzette, and Catherine Master as authorized agents to sign specific documents. And there we go.
All right, Resolution 0124XX, appoint Jeff Spees, Patty Kurtzett, Catherine Laster as authorized agents for the purpose of signing specific documents. Whereas the memorandum of occupancy agreement, memorandum of termination of occupancy agreement, simple trust transfers, sublease permits, and larger applications and the respective extension and addendum applications are signed on a daily basis on behalf of the corporation. Now therefore be it resolved May 14, 2024, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby authorize Jeff Spees, Patty Kurtzett, and Catherine Laster as authorized agents to sign on behalf of the corporation as directed by the Board of Directors to approve or deny the following memorandum of occupancy agreements, memorandum and termination of occupancy agreements, simple trust transfers, and sublease permits and larger applications with applicable extensions and addendum applications effective June 1st, 2024, and resolve further that Resolution 01-1710, approved January 26th of 2017, is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. I move this resolution.
Second, please. A second, please. Thank you, Vidya. Okay. All those in favor? Thank you. Passed unanimously. Thank you. Now we're at the delightful time of either calling a recess for 5 minutes and then going on with committee reports, or just forging on with committee reports, knowing that you are free to move up, move around, leave the room for a few minutes on your own and come back. What do you say? Do we want a formal recess, or shall we just plow on knowing that we can all circulate and gyrate as we so desire? Shall we go on?
I'd like a 5-minute break.
I'd like a 5
All
minute.
right, very
Okay.
good.
I think it's just good to
Recessing for
stand
5
up.
minutes. Oh.
Yes, very long.
I was not able to last.
report of the Finance Committee.
Thank you,
Remember in your
Madam Chair.
committee- so,
Yeah.
Excuse me, remember in your, giving your reports as we go through, we seem to be going over time today, but if there's nothing much to report, you don't need to elaborate about when the last one was, when the next one is going to be. There's nothing to report. If it's previously been reported, say so, and that's it. So, Nikki, please.
Okay, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Madam Chair. Treasurer's report for May 14, today's meeting. Let's go on to slide 1. Through the reporting period of March 31st, 2024, total revenue for United was $13.84 million compared to expenses of the $12.36 million, resulting in net revenue of $1.48 million. Next slide shows, in finance, we keep a close eye on the operating portion of our financial results. The operating fund without depreciation shows an operating surplus of $93,000 through the reporting period. This chart shows how much of our revenue went into operation, with $6.29 million coming in from assessments and $464,000 coming from non-assessment revenue. This is compared to operating expenditures of $6.66 million without depreciation. Next slide. This chart takes the full income statement and compares those results to budget. We can see that United ended the period better than budget by $1.33 million when combining all funds. Next slide. The most significant variances from budget were attributable to the following. Number 1, outside services, $579,000. Its favorable variance resulted primarily in maintenance and construction due to the timing of work and invoices compared to an even budget spread over 12 months. Impacted programs include roof replacements, preventive roof repairs, electrical system replacements, and copper pipe remediation. Roof work is expected to begin mid-year. Work is in progress for the other programs, but began later than anticipated. Additionally, in landscape, tree maintenances ended the period favorable due to the timing of invoices from the vendor. Now it is favorable, but as the time goes by, I am concerned that it doesn't go that way. Like we have unexpected expense this year. And then next variance, favorable variance, is employee compensation in the amount of $548,000. It resulted primarily in the landscape and M&C departments due to open positions. Impacted areas include ground maintenance, irrigation, electrical, plumbing, paint, interior components. And recruitment is in progress to fill in current open positions, and grounds maintenance contracted shrub bed maintenance to outside vendors for the pruning weeding cycle as they continue to fill open positions. And then materials and supplies, $172,000. Favorable variance primarily in the M&C department due to timing of material purchases. Impacted areas include interior components, paint, and electrical. Now we can go to the utility and telephone, which is $55,000 unfavorable. This variance primarily in sewer due to higher rates than anticipated at the time of budget preparation. And then fees and charges to a resident, $224,000 unfavorable. It is primarily due to the majority of the damage restoration backlog cases approximately 298 out of 314 total cases being completed in 2024. The 16 cases, or 5% of backlog cases, were processed 2024. Next slide, 5. On this pie chart, we show non-assessment revenues earned to date of $626,000. And revenue is organized by category, starting with our largest revenue-generating category, fees and charges, followed by investment income, laundry, lease processing fee, and resale processing fee, and so forth. And likewise, slide 6 shows the expenses to, we see the expenses to date of $14.4 million, showing that our largest category of expense are for property tax and employee compensation, followed by insurance, outside services, utilities, and so forth. And next slide. On this chart, we see those same expenses excluding property tax. And slide 8, our fund balances are shown here. The contingency fund balance on March 31 was $1.23 million. Contributions collected totaled $38,000 with no expenditures to date. The reserve fund balance on March 31st, 2024 was $16.533 million. In contributions and investment revenue collected totaled $3.41 million, while expenditures were $2.14 million. And next slide, we compare this to historical fund balance for the past 5 years on this chart, which has averaged $18.8 million. We are talking about low reserve funds over and over, and we need to, again, because of unexpected expenditures and plus, very conservative and very planning for last 30 years, now we are going lower and lower. So again, we need to be very cautious and better, wise planning for the future and its coming budget process. So I like to, make an emphasis that we need to really look at and carefully and plan. I mean, the MNC, our emergency, we already discussed 2 items today. So I think it will come more and more because we are living in, 60 years old infrastructure buildings. So when we plan for the reserve funding, and we need to really work and hard and have wiser planning. That's what we are learning. And finally, slide 10. We have a slide here to show resale history from 2024 to 2024. Through March 31, 2024, United resales totaled 87, which is 10 resales higher than the prior year for the same time period. And the average year-to-date resale price for United Mutual Manor was $368,000, which is $50,000 more than the prior year for the same time period. I think it's a good news. If you look at the other, I think we have all the charts covered. But if you go look into the Finance Committee report, item 15, item number 15A, we have 2 graphs again showing the same thing. Page 1 of 2 shows monthly resale price from January to up to this point. So we can see a little more detailed figure there, right? So we have about 16.3% increase of percent change year to total, and 31%, 31.5% in terms of amount, which is great. Okay, and then next page, item, two of agenda item 15A3, we have a leasing report graph there. Again, it's increasing, and we have about 13.3% increase in terms of leasing. So I believe that those are the whole positive trends in terms of sales, resales, in terms of leasing process. Finance Committee did not meet on April because we are meeting every other month. However, we met as a special meeting because we need to approve those two appropriation items last week. And we are meeting in April 20, next meeting will be the April 28th, I believe. No, May 28th. We are living in, I live in April. But Tuesday, May 28th, 1:30 p.m., right here in the boardroom. Thank you.
Thank you, Mickey. Thank you. Next, we have the Architectural Control and Standard. Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. What we did was already dealt with in the consent calendar, so that's no secret. And our next meeting is this Thursday, March 18th, 9:30 here in the boardroom. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, Director Carlson, member hearings.
Yes, we collected a ballpark about $40-some thousand in recovery from damages arising from restorations. And again, we pay all the costs connected to that, so we're getting reimbursed that amount.
Governing docs, Maggie?
Okay, we met last month, and we will meet again this Thursday, so come on in.
Okay. Landscaping, Sue?
I lost my days here. I think it's May 20th at 1.
Microphone.
Pardon? Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you. We're meeting May 20th at 1:30 p.m. And again, it's like all the committees, we are working on regular activities, but it's really important because if you have budget concerns, please come to these meetings that are occurring this month because round one reports will be presented, I believe, June 2nd or something, very in early June.
Okay. Pearl, Maintenance and
Yes,
Construction?
the membership report, the Maintenance and Construction Committee, we had it on April 24th. Next meeting will be on June 26th at 1:30 in the boardroom.
Okay. Tony, Resident Advisory, I think Georgiana filled in for you this past month,
Yes.
right? Georgiana, do you want to report on that?
Yes, our next meeting, I don't have I guess it's on here, I don't have my
You
glasses.
just had 2 or 3 people there,
Well,
I
the
think.
next-
Yes, there were
the next
there were
meeting's
three,
on June
3 who
13th.
showed up, and 2 had the same issue, and so that's been submitted, and so I'm thinking it'll be taken care of.
Thank you. Moving on to GRF committees. Finance Committee, Mickey? GRF
Yes,
Finance.
we made April 17, just regular finance, and one of the items, security and community access emergency radio equipment installation was approved. And as our CEO mentioned and all other members mentioned, that budget is starting, and tomorrow, Wednesday, is our GLF budget capital review and planning, so suggest you to attend. And there is a calendar for throughout the United Mutual GLF budget process, so I will ask you to be attentive for that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
tomorrow's
and
the-
next meeting will be on June, June 17. No, June 19, Finance Committee.
Okay. Communities, activities, Ellen?
The community activities met on April 11th. We relocated the billiard room to Clubhouse 1, and the next meeting will be June 13th at 1:30.
Okay. GRF landscape, Sue.
But the next meeting is August 14th, 2024, at 1:30 in the boardroom.
Okay, and I guess mine is GRF M&C. We'll be meeting again in June. And of course, the emphasis is on completing the 2024 projects as scheduled, and then looking for the 25 budgetary worries, which are of course very important. Space planning, Nancy, ad hoc.
Yes, in the interest of time, I've already addressed several items earlier today about that. And we had a meeting on May 1st. The next meeting is to be determined. The plan proposal submitted, there's actually two surfaced as the ones. One is where it's resident-oriented, we saved $6 million. And based on billiards moving, we're at about 14,000 square feet of space that we found available to locate departments. And that was very positive things.
Okay. Media communications, Georgiana?
Yes, the next meeting is on July 15th at 1:30, and that'll be in the boardroom, or it can be attended virtually. And also for the resident advisory meeting, I failed to mention that next one is on June 13th in the Elm Room.
Okay. Mobility and vehicles, Nancy? That's been previously reported, and I guess we'll meet tomorrow.
Again, the same thing, the traffic workshop was a big deal. So people understand, we're looking for places for those cars to be parked.
Yes. Security and community access, Maggie?
Okay, we have a meeting on June 26th of 2024 in the boardroom. And that's it. I thought we met this month, but I don't see any minutes in here, so.
Okay, traffic hearings, did you?
We had a hearing in April, and then the next hearing is actually set for tomorrow.
Busy day tomorrow. Okay, disaster prep, Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We didn't have a meeting in April, but we're going to have a meeting here on May 28th, 9:30 here in the boardroom, and pay attention. We've been getting some rumblings, if you've been paying attention, so attend.
Oh, you mean the little earthquakes
Yeah,
lately?
yeah.
Yeah, exciting. Okay, Tom, IT?
Yeah, two quick items on that. The callback system for resident service is working pretty well.
That's great.
And there's some stats on that we can look at in the future. And just a reminder that the finance department continues to do the testing on the new ERP system, so they're kind of doing double duty in finance a lot of times. So.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you all. Future agenda items, item 17. Of course, the items that were resolved today will show up after 28 days. Maggie?
I have one announcement to make.
Yeah.
I want you to go to agenda item number 5, page 3 of 14.
Yeah.
It's the minutes of last week's meeting. It gives us $300,000 of reductions of cost by our CEO.
That's great.
That's in the minutes. I want you to tear this out and save it. This is what the plan is, and they are working for us.
Yes. Bravo, very good. Okay. With that, I'm sorry, I'm getting myself behind here. With that, I think we are ready for recess, and we will convene the closed session in about 20 minutes. Thank you. A motion to adjourn? No.
We were just recessing.
We're not, we're just recessing.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Very good.
Hey, Director, I'm sending you the information Pamela did